Welcome one, welcome all to Pit Road Productions for a very special one-off event to cap off the end of our year. Few more shows to go besides, but this is going to be a very special detour for the iRaceControl end of year enduro, sponsored by iRaceControl, a program that has incredible capabilities, allowing you to officiate and steward your iRacing event in a fantastic format indeed. Seen previews of it. We're going to be having a look at it throughout the race. I'm looking forward to it 100%. Big thanks to Rich Hibbs and the team at iRaceControl for bringing us on for this one here on Pit Road Productions. It's myself, Reese Gardner, in the commentary box, and Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me, and also producing behind the scenes. Zippy, this is an event that I've been intrigued by. We have got a 3-hour endurance race ahead of us in GT3s at Virginia International Raceway.
Oh, indeed, Reese, it is a first for us, but just give me 1 second. Yeah, no, it's absolutely been a belter, and definitely actually going to be the longest race we've ever had here on Pit Road Productions, ladies and gentlemen. And who better could it be to do it with than the one and only Mr. Reese Gardner? Certainly looking forward to having him in there. And I've got to say, looking at the drivers, I'm seeing a few familiar names, just having a quick look down the list. Joseph Yang, certainly recognize him from VIS, Malik Bass, Dustin Neerhoof, having a little bit further down, Austin Dilts, obviously Morgan Smith, all of these guys from WBM as well, coming out in Storm, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly good to see some new names as well here. Definitely looking forward to seeing exactly how they do. Diego Zuccarelli as well making an appearance. He's a BIS regular. Certainly if it had been in a Radical, this man would be someone to put your money on. But certainly VIR, it is indeed on the Princess approved track list. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad we got the show, but if we hadn't, I would 100% be driving this race. We could have double teamed this race.
Yeah, we probably could have. Pit Road Productions car in the field would have been nice, but the field that they do have for this event is already pretty stacked, as you said. A bunch of fantastic teams competing in this one in Pro and Am classes here at VIR. And yeah, this is all to showcase the iRaceControl program. Can you explain a bit more to the viewers about what's going down today?
Well, I can do one better. Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at that. You can see there, this is actually live from the race session, ladies and gentlemen. You can see he's got his Pro and his Am, and it is, I've got to be honest, it is a bit more technical than what I can handle at this point, but certainly we are actually going to steal Rich Hibbs a bit later on to try and explain just how that's going on. He does have a driver meeting in progress at the minute, but basically the point of iRaceControl is like an automated stewarding system. Ladies and gentlemen, anybody who's run a league will know just how much of a pain in the arse it can be to try and deal with the drama you sometimes get on track. But why not get iRaceControl to do it for you? Honestly, when I heard about how much this program was, I was surprised. I thought it would cost more, but ladies and gentlemen, $5 a month, or save yourself some money and get it for 50 USD a year. That's an absolute giveaway, Reese.
Yeah, it is. Excellent value for money for what's clearly a very powerful program, allowing you to officiate your iRacing hosted event. And you know, we will definitely be checking in on this throughout the event and seeing how things work, because of course iRaceControl is being used to officiate this event right here. Well, we'll certainly be seeing plenty of fantastic action today. As you mentioned, a lot of names that we are familiar with in this race. Some teams single driver, and others 2 driver teams. So we're looking forward to seeing who's going to come out on top.
Oh, absolutely. This is one of the drivers who we are actually familiar with seeing. Ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Neerhoof. We're going to probably get a flying lap with him, or indeed any of the other drivers, in just a few short moments. Actually, Dustin Neerhoof, I didn't realize he was quite that potent. Ladies and gentlemen, 4,134 I rating. But ladies and gentlemen, we do have another little announcement for us. Well, indeed for you as well at home. We are actually broadcasting this in 4K. So ladies and gentlemen, certainly Jake Enns, I'm specifically looking at you. Let us know how this broadcast is going. If it's starting, let us know. From what I can see, everything's good on our end, but don't get me wrong, this is the first time for us, so by all means let us know. If we're going to give it a stress test, why not do it here for a 3-hour endurance?
Absolutely. Of course, communicate with us, let us know what is going on, and we'll make sure to endeavor to fix any problems that arise. But hopefully this is the start of a new 4K era for Pit Road Productions. We'll see what happens. Well, warm up. We have a few drivers having set times, but for the moment, tracking around one of our Ford Mustangs here, Will Bailey in the Nice Pair Racing Mustang, which is going to be starting today's race in 14th place, demonstrating for us the pitfalls of Virginia International Raceway. This is a notoriously difficult circuit. Some call it America's Newbury. It's a historic track, one of the original crop of purpose-built sports car courses that popped up in the 1950s, including Road America and Watkins Glen. So a lot of history here.
Yeah, definitely one of the more beautiful circuits, and indeed, what an absolutely beautiful paint here on that Ford Mustang. But I gotta admit, I have a feeling this is going to be a little bit almost of like a concourse of paint, ladies and gentlemen. If you got a special event, why not go and get the paintbrush out? I gotta admit, Dustin Neerhoof, I kind of expected to see a newer paint there. I do wonder if that's maybe on our side, or indeed he's just going for something a little bit more traditional there. What about this gentleman here, Landon Slagan, ladies and gentlemen? Absolutely gorgeous paint, and in the Corvette as well. It's good to see we've got a good variety here, but right now it's a Porsche at the top of the food chain in the form of Nathan Nickerson.
Absolutely. Nickerson here, driving the number 470 and doing a good job of it at the moment. That's going to be a second place in the warm-up, but they are starting a long way down for today's race. It's going to be a 24th place for them. So you never know. If they can keep the pace up, might be able to make some changes here. Of course, this being a 3-hour race, we're going to be seeing, I believe, 2 pit stops, because the GT3 cars, if there is no fuel cap, can go an hour and a bit for having come in to fill the tank up. So there is going to be a strategy element to this race. You know, there's a bit of space to move around the specific laps you pit, so we might be seeing some undercuts, some overcuts, some fuel saving, everything that we like to see in an endurance race.
Well, definitely I'm looking forward to it, and indeed pit strategy can be absolutely huge. Ladies and gentlemen, I've got to say, I'm a big fan of what Morgan Smith can do on the paint, but take a look at this one. Morgan Tegay, absolutely gorgeous paint on that Mustang. I've got to admit, it's hitting all the right spots, ladies and gentlemen. That is absolutely beautiful.
That is nice. That is very nice. And, looking forward to seeing how that works in the light, as it looks like the checkered flag is flying in the warm-up. Getting ready. Go for the race here. And the grid is as follows in the Pro Class. Ryan Merriam is going to start on pole with Ricky Renner alongside Joseph Yang and Matt Gauthier on the second row. Of course, we have their team names down below. This is a team endurance event. Some drivers, some teams with 2 drivers, some teams with only 1. Austin Diltz and Morgan Smith will round out your third row with Brandon Dooley and Morgan Teague on row 4. Dustin Neerhoof and Diego Zuccarelli rounding out your top 10 for the start.
As you have a look there, in P11, it's going to be Philip Scott with Chris Springer alongside in P12. Moving down the grid, though, in 13th is going to be one and only Mr. Rich Hips alongside Will Bailey. Patrick Hamann takes 15th with Joe Cotterman in 16th, with Drew Schriller in 17th alongside Landon Norris in 18th. And closing out your top 20, it's Logan Watson in 19th and Eric Martin in 20th.
The Cotterman iRacing team has Jacob Cotterman driving out of 21st place, Landon Slagan alongside him with Todd Schwartz and Nathan Nickerson in 24th place there. Team Boxer Brett with Kevin Denoyer starts 25th. Boxer Movement Club with Emmett Lindquist alongside. Then it's WBM Blue with Malik Bass. And finally, Hate Pickles, Gray Welch at the wheel. Rounding out the 28 cars, getting ready to take to the start here in a short formation lap, Zippy. So we're going to get this one started pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's going to be quite short. I have a feeling Nathan Nickerson may have slipped under the radar there. We're just going to try and get him dealt with here in just a second. It looks like he may have indeed managed to dodge the front of that back.
Yes, for sure. Well, let's see. At the very front of the field, Gets the best run into turn one. The iRaceControl end of year Enduro is go as Ryan Merriam puts the power down in the Aeronaut Racing Porsche 911. The simracers.com Aston of Ricky Renner following him in second as they come down to turn one for the first time. Joseph Yang trying to defend third from Matt Gauthier in the Road Sport Performance Mustang, as it looks like a nice clean start through the majority of the field. Of course, this being a 3-hour race, they don't want to treat it like a sprint. This is going to be a long haul operation, but already car off the circuit looked like some understeer for the Aston Martin of Austin Dilts and the Team 14 racing car. But ahead of him, side by side, as Dustin Neerhoof tries his best to make his way past Morgan Tiggy in the Rust Belt Racing Mustang. This is the front row seat to some solid action.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful paint jobs here. There's nowhere Austin Dilts can go, don't get me wrong. He's certainly starting to think about it. Oh my gosh, a bit of a wiggle there from Nehu, and he's into the grass, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like Morgan Tegay going a little bit scenic as well. Is he going to be all right on the rejoin? Austin Dilts in the grass, yellow flag for Nehu. He's going to have to try and serve that slowdown as efficiently as possible.
Oh dear, well, it's a long race, so any little mistakes here on the first lap you can easily recover from if you play your cards right, but that has shifted the order somewhat. The back end of the top 10, we have a 5-car breakaway at the front of the field. Aeronaut continuing to lead with simracers.com, Intrace, Road Sport Performance and WBM in the hands of Morgan Smith, rounding out your top 5 near the conclusion of lap 1. It is a massive pack of cars behind Dustin Neerhoof and Brandon Dooley meanwhile, because have a look at that. It's a super long train. That basically covers everyone all the way down to Malik Bass in 27th. Already quite close running.
I gotta say, Malik has definitely decided to start from the back of the pack. He's doing it for the entertainment value. And I gotta say, WPM paint looking absolutely gorgeous. Ladies and gentlemen, I would hide it, but I'm definitely not going to. As alongside goes Courtney Nickerson there, as Bass makes his way up one position from the start.
Indeed, he does. So, one of maybe many positions that we're going to see move up. Here's the lead once again, though. Ryan Merriam holding on nicely to the front position, but Ricky Renner isn't letting him get away. Only 3/10 slower on the first lap and starting to line up the pace once more. The Mercedes of Joseph Yang giving chase, and it looks like we'll shortly be seeing Morgan Tegay in the Rust Belt Racing car start to get up to the back of Morgan Smith. This will be a fun time. As long as Tegay can keep it on track, it's very easy to throw it off there.
I got a bit. VIR is an absolutely beautiful track, but the corner around Oak Tree is definitely one of the more challenging ones. And it's good to see as well that it's going to be a team event. Did they get the urge? Ladies and gentlemen, it really is a little bit of a fashion show with some of these cars here. I'm absolutely blown away with the sheer standard of paint jobs we've got here today at the VIR.
Yeah, fantastic spread of liveries that we've got here today. Battle for the last position inside the top 10. Philip Scott is trying his best to work his way past Austin Dilts, who's been struggling a little bit in these opening stages, but of course cold tyres certainly play a part here. The GT3 cars do use tyre warmers, but you still need to get those tyres up to temperature and up to pressure, and it takes a few laps for them to really hit the sweet spots, so easy to make mistakes in the opening laps. Philip Scott then looking for a way past, but into turn one, no give from Austin Dilts.
Yeah, Dilts is going to have to play the defensive game at this point, but don't get me wrong, he's not just got Chris Springer behind him, he's also got Diego Zigarelli and indeed Rich Hibbs there, rocking that absolutely gorgeous iRaceControl McLaren. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if he'll include it, but certainly if I subscribe to iRaceControl, I want a copy of that paint. It's gorgeous, it's got bronze wheels, and indeed it's potent in the hands of Rich Hibbs.
Indeed, Rich Hibbs, one of the guys behind iRaceControl. He and his friend Christopher running the company and developing the program. So it's nice to see them out here. We are obviously familiar with Rich Hibbs from his exploits in the Radical Cup Canada. And we will certainly see a chat from him later on to talk more about the iRaceControl program that is being used to officiate this race. Logan Watton, meanwhile, of the United Kingdom, holding on to 19th place as the Mustang ahead of him runs wide. That was the Boxer Movement Club car of Emmett Lindquist, but it looks like he won't fall under much pressure here behind. So let's see what happens at Roller Coaster. The prime overtaking opportunities around the lap.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff. And I gotta say, a very, very festive livery there from Emmett in the number 23.
Yeah, indeed. It is coming up to Christmas, so we will be seeing a lot more of that. Getting his Christmas sweater on as he chases down the McLaren of Jed Cotterman. Looks like Cotterman didn't have the best of runs out of the hog pen there, so we might see a move from the Mustang into turn one. The slipstream at least brings him close. And Cotterman will have to look over his right shoulder because up the inside comes Emmett Lindquist, makes the position at the first turn, and that is a move up to 17th for a car that is already up 9 positions in the race. That's a very impressive run so far. They are not the hard charger though. That belongs to the number 35 Team Boxer Brett with Kevin Denoyer at the wheel. So some good runs being made already.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a little bit of a fun paint now. Who have we got here? This is literally a Dylan Newhart inspired paint by look at. Honestly, we need to put Dylan's face on the GT3 car. I think that would be justified, ladies and gentlemen. He certainly earned it, but right now we're going to have to play a little bit of a guessing game. That's exactly who Kevin Desnoyers is representing on that Mustang. But right now, he's applying pressure to the back of the number 15 McLaren of Rich Hibbs.
Indeed, Rich Hibbs continuing to run very nicely here. He's one of many cars in the field that still occupies the same position they started in. A consistent run so far. This is where the slipstream kicks in down Madison Avenue, and Kevin gets ever closer to Rich, but that is a wise decision there to lift off. You can't send it from that far back into Roller Coaster, and also we have to think about strategy as well. As I said, 2 pit stops will likely be required over the course of this race, but none of them will require a full fuel fill unless the driver decides that should be the case. So any fuel you can save now is probably a good idea. Let's see if he goes for the move here at turn 1. Looks like he will.
Yeah, to say that, Emmett Lindquist has just gone and set the fastest lap of the race, albeit very briefly, ladies and gentlemen. Kevin Desnoyers, I'm sorry, taking hold of that, who we just saw make the pass on Rich Hibbs.
Yeah, very good move. Kevin Denoyer making some good moves up through the field. That car is now up 12 positions, and there's been an extra position made up by Emmett Lindquist as well in the Boxer Movement Club 23. He made his way past Bradley Tidwell in the Nice Pair Racing number 89. So we'll obviously be having quite a bit to talk about over the course of this race, not just about iRaceControl, but the drivers that are competing in this one. Richard Hibbs is a solo entry here. Diego Zuccarelli in the number 13, meanwhile. He's sharing his car with Rich Price in the Event Matrix car. And he is under a lot of pressure from the Aston Martin, as we can see. This is a nice battle here, driving the Ferrari.
Absolutely good. We'll see the Ferrari out there in force, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, he is under pressure right now. Kevin Desnoyers, he's already made it up 12 positions. He'd like to make it 13. And not only that, past the number 13 car, the Event Matrix machine. But is he going to be able to hold on? Don't get me wrong. If he can get the Zuccarelli can get behind. Oh my gosh, I've just worked out why. Desnoyers. Yeah, here's fair. So you can see why he's hard charging, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't know this guy was around, but he's packing 8,292 iRating. This guy is swinging it.
Absolutely is. Fantastic amount of success under his belt here in the number 35 as he makes the move on Diego Zuccarelli. Of course, Zuccarelli you will know from our Radical Cup Canada broadcasts. Austin Dilts, meanwhile, fighting for 9th with Chris Springer. Dark Speed Endurance team, the 139 here, one of the few teams for which I don't seem to have any information in the spreadsheet we've been provided, so it's going to be a few mysteries for us to work out, but the Dark Speed Endurance Porsche is looking mighty solid in 10th for the moment.
Well, definitely good to see such a variety as well of automotive machinery here at VIR. And I've got to admit, it is one of the tracks on my real-life bucket list, ladies and gentlemen. You can actually see some chalets at the corner of the track, and you can indeed rent them and then go racing. But right now, we're starting to see a little bit of a pack emerge here. That looks like Rich Hips. I believe that's Rich Hips right ahead. No.
Hibbs is in a McLaren. That's an Acura NSX. Brandon Dooley in the second of our dark speed endurance cars, trying to line up a move on the WBM BMW. Technically, the team name is Team Bang Gang that Dustin Neerhoff is driving for. But it's a good defense from Neerhoff as Brandon Dooley has to take good care not to run into the back of him in roller coaster, and backed off through hog pen as well. So let's see what he can do into turn one. The slipstream is on again. That Acura is looking quite slippery in a straight line, but Austin Dilts is not too far behind in that Aston Martin either. This is a solid train of cars we've got. It stretches all the way from Neerhoff back to actually Rich Hibbs in the McLaren, who you can just see as a few pixels in the background in some shots.
Well, we have got to start to wonder, are we going to see a team game come into play? Because don't get me wrong, Neerhoff right now, he's got one of the Acuras right behind him. The teammate there to Rich Hibbs is Brandon Dooley. But right now, if Neerhoff can hold him up a little bit, not only that, we got Morgan Smith just ahead. Can we get a WBM photo opportunity here? All we need to do is get Austin Dilts up past the number 14 Acura.
Yeah, all they need to do is get Austin Dilts up past the Acura. We're unbiased up here in the commentators booth. But we'll see that Acura continue to try its best to find its way past the BMW as we move back to now 10th place. Chris Springer has got, oh yeah, a bit of a slowdown for him. And Kevin Desnoyer is going to benefit greatly from that. Slipstream picked up by the Aston Martin. Are we going to see another move into roller coaster?
Well, absolutely fantastic. So we've got a penalty there. The 139 has just got black flagged. That is Chris Springer. Ladies and gentlemen, iRaceControl at work, ladies and gentlemen. The 139 black flag. That could be for not serving a slowdown quick enough, but certainly I believe that's going to be a drive-through penalty. But you can see iRaceControl in action there and already into effect. Indeed.
Those messages that pop up at the middle bottom of your screen are messages direct from iRaceControl. So that is a fantastic feature, and it's great that it's been implemented with both ATVO and the SDK gaming overlays that we use here on PRP. That's a great feature, honestly. It makes things so much easier for the broadcasters, for the commentators to know exactly what's happening. No more checking spreadsheets or anything like that.
I've got to admit, honestly, it's absolutely fantastic. I never knew just how potent iRaceControl is, but what I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the Podium 1 GT3 Fix Series we had here on Monday night, so it's indeed returning with a TCR and GT4 class, and then the GT3 and GT3D in the next season as well. They are going to be using iRaceControl to monitor their league. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be seeing even more of it here on Pit Road Productions. And what can I say? I'm absolutely stoked. But right now, Chris Springer now serving a yellow flag. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to see if he's picked up another slowdown or indeed what is happening with the race control.
Yeah, the yellow flag is a slowdown for Chris Springer, and it would appear that he ended up going a little bit too beyond the limits of the racetrack on the in the not the climbing S's, but the S's that are just out of left and right hook. As Kevin Denoyer, meanwhile, has made his way past Austin Dilts. The Team Boxer Brett machine is now up to P10, and well, this is certain looking good for him. That car is up a grand total of 16 places right now. Up to ninth. There's there's the penalty being taken for Chris Springer, and well, it looked like Diego Zuccarelli almost got caught out by that. Pit entry at VIR is not easy to deal with at the best of times.
Yeah, oh, boink, as the Mustang gets a little bit of a nudge, a little bit of a wiggle there. Absolutely fantastic stuff, but certainly caught me by surprise as well. But what this does mean is Patrick Hamad, he's going to come into the action as well. Can now start applying pressure to the back of the number 13. That Ferrari, actually the only Ferrari in the grid, ladies and gentlemen, of Diego Zuccarelli.
Good to see that we have a good representation of brands here. Of course, the BMW M4, the Ford Mustang, and the Aston Martin Vantage seem to be the most popular cars in this field. We have a Mercedes or two, as well as quite a few Porsches. But as you said, only one Ferrari, as the penalty is complete for Chris Springer. Get back out there in the Dark Speed Endurance 139. And, well, now the recovery begins from that drive through. Malik Bass, meanwhile, started from the rear of the grid and is solidly making his way up, as I'm seeing Emmett Lindquist falling down the order, Zippy, in the number 23. I'm not quite sure what's gone on there. Bass, meanwhile, has picked up a slowdown.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's happened with Emmett Lindquist either. I believe it may be a connection issue. I'm hoping I'm wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely unfortunate, because they were absolutely moving through the field there. Indeed, they have dropped back even further. Right now, we're going to check in here with the Acura, the Dark Speed Endurance machine here, who's now got Kevin Desnoyers right behind him as well.
Yeah, so Brandon Dooley has a lot of pressure behind him here. Denoye makes his way to the inside for turn one, and easy as you like. Gets on the brakes a little later and moves through. That car is marching up the order for the moment. His next targets are the WBM liveried cars of Dustin Neerhoof and Morgan Smith. So let's see how they match up. Quite a gap ahead to the next car. Morgan Tiggy still holding on to fifth, a few seconds up the road.
Now, here you got to wonder, don't get me wrong, it's a 3-hour race. They're only about 15 minutes into it, but if Morgan Smith and Dustin Neerhoof were to work together, they could make that WBM almost a little bit of a roadblock there. Is it going to be enough to hold back Kevin Desnoyers? Would they be better off to let Desnoyers go and then try and ride in his slipstream and potentially pull themselves up and away there from Brandon Dooley, the Dark Speed Endurance machine there? Austin Dill's not yet been able to make a move forward, but don't get me wrong, the strength of field in here, it's a lot higher than I was prepared for. Ladies and gentlemen, the strength of field has easily got to be over 3K.
That's a fantastic soft, honestly. If this was an official race, they would be there would be tons of I rating up for grabs. And you know, I really appreciate this event in particular for drawing such a strong field. The caution has been thrown, meanwhile.
Oh.
That's another feature of iRaceControl there. You can throw cautions from iRaceControl. And yes, we'll figure out why. Landon Norris with a problem in the Revolution Racing Mustang. It looks like the front left is, that's not a nice angle.
Well, let's take a look at the replay and see exactly what happened. You can see him there going into that section. He's already had an accident there. Something has gone wrong. Maybe we got to go a little bit further back.
Well, I think, yeah, either he's been having some trouble with the suspension on his car there, or that was literally just the rear end letting go on him right there and putting him into the tire barrier. Regardless, the contact with the tire bundle is what ultimately did it for him. So, yeah, it's looking normal there, but gets on the brakes, and yeah, that's very interesting. Oh, okay, he had to be very careful with the field coming up on him. Did the right thing, held the brakes, stayed in one spot, and then looked for a gap to move back. So evidently Landon having some trouble there with NASCAR bend, and it's ultimately resulted in our first safety car period of the day.
Well, I'm just trying to work out exactly where it went wrong for him, because don't get me wrong, he had a bit of an off track. Got a little bit of a wiggle there. Are we about to see where it's going to go horribly wrong? Trying to get some heat in the tires, trying to clean it off. You see one of the photographers there actually in the background. Girlfriend, I love that. She was honestly laughing at the marshals, even naming a few of them after our local marshals here in Atlantic Motorsport Park. It was absolutely hilarious and adorable, and a little bit of a donut move at the same moment. But you know, what do you do? But I'm trying to work out exactly what happened to Landon Norris, because right now, no damage on that car.
Honestly, Zippy, I think what we saw was just that. I don't think there was anything more to it, because it can be easy to lose the rear into NASCAR bend if you're dragging the brakes a bit too much. If your brake bias is a bit too far to the rear, it can just be easy to get a slide going, and it looked like the driver of the Mustang just overcorrected and spun into the tire bundles. If anyone out there is actually watching the race themselves and has some extra context to give us, we would certainly appreciate it. But I think on the face of it, that little slide was all there was to that incident.
Well, meantime, let's take a quick look at the iRaceControl live stream, see if we can see what's happening on there. Ladies and gentlemen, there is all sorts happening. Don't get me wrong, you can probably see it a little bit better than I can, certainly on my end, but you can see just exactly how much left of the race so far, and indeed you can see all of the people going around the track. You see a couple of people there who have not managed to catch up to the pace car there. A couple of cars out in the green. I have to wonder, is this going to be an opportunity for them to maybe catch back up? And indeed, I'm actually going to love this in a full course and indeed a full length race, because it's going to be an opportunity to really get the action going again. Like, we don't usually get the luxury of seeing this.
No, we certainly don't, and it really strikes me that iRaceControl could be used as a live timing app as well. It's got all of the bells and whistles that you need for seeing sectors, positions, laps completed, etc. This is an interesting call, though. Under the safety car, we have the front of our field coming in to the pits. Ricky Renner in the simracers.com number 53 is going to stay out, but it looks like we have the vast majority of our field deciding to come into the pits here after 22 minutes completed in the race.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know exactly, because if you've got a pit strategy, as soon as you get a full course yellow, that's the end of it. You've got to adapt, you've got to evolve, and looking at this, I don't know if I would pit, don't get me wrong. How likely do you think there's going to be multiple course cautions? Myself, I think if the front of the field goes, you've got to go with them, but honestly, it could go either way. If you can catch up to the pace car, this could be a free pit stop. They're going to have to absolutely send it, though, if they want to catch up. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I'm thinking about it as well. And, I mean, it varies a little bit. It does the actual stint length for GT3 cars, but on a full tank, they tend to run about an hour to an hour and 10 minutes. That extra 10 minutes, maybe another 5 or so either side, does complicate things a little bit. But the pit stops are being completed with 2 hours and 40 minutes to go or thereabouts. That leaves 2 lots of an hour and 20 minutes for these teams to run through. They will be able to save a tiny bit of fuel here under the safety car, but other than that, yeah, I don't know. I get the feeling they might just be trying to set themselves up for a super short final pit stop. We got to remember that being under safety car conditions, the field is going to be compressed behind the safety car, and so while you may have pitted, while you may have lost positions, you're still not that far behind the actual race lead when we go green again.
Yeah, it's almost like a little bit of a reset there. It's a second chance, and I got to be honest, I absolutely love the fact we got that. This, you know what? I'm going to go out there and say it. This is what iRacing needs to have in special events. 100% it needs to have it. But there's the big question. I think Jimmy Broadbent was talking about this the other day. Do you think that you get people who would then go and exploit it? I don't think they would, because of the way that you've got the iRacing system and how big the special events are. I don't think you could manipulate this, but certainly iRacing, I know you're not my biggest fan, but don't take that out on Rich Hibbs and iRaceControl, because this needs to be in your special events. Full stop. It just needs to be there.
Yeah, I've always been a proponent of having full course cautions in road course events. You know, I've run quite a few hosted leagues where there's been manual safety cars, and it really adds so much to the action. I certainly hope that some kind of system can come in a couple of years maybe to allow us to run races like this on the regular and not have to deal with the little quirks of this automated caution system, which, remember, was built for oval racing, and it does have some oval racing specific rules that complicate things a little bit, like the pit road being closed when the safety car comes out and opening after the first lap under safety car. So that's something that the drivers had to deal with. Lights are out on that pace car, the BMW M2, which means it will be pulling into the pits momentarily, and we're going to get this race back under green flag conditions. Ricky Renner still holding on to the lead, but Kevin Desnoyers has managed to work his way into second thanks to everyone in front of him pitting. And considering the pace he's had, I think he might be going for the lead right away as the green flag flies and we are back to racing at VIR.
Oh, absolutely. And Ricky Renner there, he's going to end up a lot of pressure already. But I've got to say, Rich Hibbs currently up 10 positions. A lot of drivers, it's going to show they've absolutely snowballed there through the field. As it looks like to see some moves happening further back. 2 wide, 3 wide in places. Ladies and gentlemen, are we going to see safety car? Oh, we got a spinner. It's Todd Schwartz, ladies and gentlemen. Todd Schwartz goes round.
And the Dark Speed Endurance Gold Porsche, but fortunately no one else gets involved in that. It worked out okay in the end for everyone except Todd Schwartz. So, make sure that you work yourself out nicely here on these restarts. This is the other thing, you know, this is what safety cars bring, is restarts and the chaos that brings. I love to see it. The top 5 have broken away meanwhile. The Western Ohio team of Logan Watton is... Oh no.
Did you see that as well?
No, I didn't. What did you see? Oh, Dilts.
I saw something getting very big, very sideways, and indeed very messy as I think Malik Bassmay got going to that. And we got a full course yellow again. Ladies and gentlemen, iRaceControl in action. We're going to quickly to the live stream and see exactly what's happening on the iRaceControl live feed.
Okay, so we see the Team 14 car moving down the order there, and everybody has managed to get collected here. Another full course yellow out instantly after less than a lap being complete, and it all happened because Austin Dilts caught the grass in the S's and ultimately got sent into the side of Eric Martin in the number 9 McLaren. So that looks like that's what's caused it. It was a really big hit in the end. Have a look at this. Oh. Yeah, you can't see the McLaren from that angle, but Dilts using all the runoff of the VIR to full effect. See here, he tries to turn in for that right-hander while the car is still on the grass, and that kicks the rear end out. Poor Eric Martin did nothing wrong there. He was just an innocent victim of a very small mistake.
Yeah, definitely a little bit unfortunate. Let's see if we can get another camera angle. Nothing against you, Austin, but definitely curious to see exactly how that one went down.
Give us 10 angles. Let's roast him. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was massive. No, he didn't get a nudge. Look, on the grass, he turns. It's coming off the curb. The car gets unsettled.
Sorry about it.
Yeah, that was entirely on Austin Dilts, unfortunately.
I gotta say, he did at least look really good doing it. I'll give him that.
That he did. That he did. Well, the race has come to a pause once again, and everyone who's who pitted under the previous caution will have to bring their speed down again. And the issue for our top 5, who will actually throw in the top 6, because it looks like the 989 had a tour through pit lane without stopping. Everyone who hadn't taken service under the last caution, it would appear they are not going to be able to get on strategy with everyone else here, because the field is still massively packed. You're going to lose a ton of track position if you pit under this caution.
Yeah, certainly reset with the strategy. But ladies and gentlemen, we do have Rich Hibbs, the iRaceControl creator here in the booth. Rich, I gotta say, I wasn't 100% sure how this was gonna work at first. I had a good idea, but this is absolutely incredible. I've gone out there, I've said it, iRacing needs to have this in all special events. And certainly any leagues who are thinking about getting into the, certainly the longer races especially, you need this software. Rich, this is your opportunity to try and explain this to us a little bit at home. How on earth does this magic work?
Yeah, so iRacing has a telemetry for the session info, so all car incident points and everything are exported through iRacing, so we just review all that and then make some logic based on the decisions that come from those. So here, these yellow flags have been generated by somebody causing a meatball flag. So now there's a car damaged on track, so that makes sense to throw a full course caution. So that's what these two full course yellows have been triggered by. It's been a lot of fun to generate the software. I created the software after racing in Porsche Esports Canada for season 1 and getting absolutely frustrated with the race control that was happening at the time, because it was a couple of guys that thought they knew how to do everything, but they really didn't have any of the tools to do what they wanted to do, and everyone just got frustrated. And because of that frustration, I reached out to some people to see if I could make something work, and this is what we got. I got a business partner that helps me generate all the code for this. I am not a coder. I am the guy that thinks all the fun stuff of how we can control things and things like that. I have got a automation background, so I can figure out triggers and actions based on those and things like that, but creating the code is not my thing.
Well, certainly I can indeed understand that. And indeed, automation, don't underestimate it. Ladies and gentlemen, think about just something as simple as a traffic light, for example. There is a lot of work that goes into that. But Rich, I got to say, this is making for an absolutely incredible broadcast. And not only that, our debut here in 4K. But let's talk strategy while we've got you here. It looks like you've got a little bit of time before we go green. How are you going to plan your race here, knowing that we're already down 2 full course cautions in with 2.5 hours to go?
Right now, it's just trying to extend the stint as long as I can and then get off strategy with everyone. I would prefer not entering the pit lane with a bunch of other cars there. I feel like I'm going to lose more time with everyone in the pit lane at the same time. So that was the strategy call, to stay out. Track position is pretty key here. We had a few people jump in after that first caution and during this caution, but I think track position, if you can keep it for a while and then jump into the pits when you can, it'll work, and then hopefully not have to take tires during a green flag stop in the future as well.
Yeah, certainly indeed. If you have to pit during green flag, it's going to be a lot more expensive. But ladies and gentlemen, Rich Hibbs, one of the creators here of iRaceControl, and definitely if you want to get this software in your league, ladies and gentlemen, it's $5 USD a month. That is absolutely peanuts in the grand scheme of things. The value is incredible, and by all means, we'd love for you to get involved in that. Check out iRaceControl.com, I believe. If not, check it out on Discord there. And by all means, we've got links as well in the YouTube broadcast. But I've got to say, I'm absolutely loving this. And if you're unsure of, just how well is this software going to work, ladies and gentlemen, our Podium 1 League we see here on Monday nights, they're coming back indeed with iRaceControl software as well.
Yeah, fantastic to see. One more question for you, Rich, as we're getting ready to potentially go green at the end of this lap. Exactly how much automation is there for iRaceControl? Is it absolutely everything? Because I noticed wave rounds as well. Are those automated too?
Wave rounds are manual controlled right now, but
all right.
There is everything to generate incident point reviews and things like that. So if you want to follow in a league the number of 1Xs that are being generated and put a drive-through because of it, you can generate that. For the league that I help run, we do a very tight limit of 1Xs for each of our custom classes. So in iRaceControl, we can also monitor the custom classes, and we give our pros the least amount of 1Xs they can do, but also limit their 4Xs. So it makes it so everyone has to clean up their act and hopefully play nice with each other. Tonight we got 4X penalties, so if anybody hits in the pro category, hits somebody 4 times, generates 4 crashes, then they get a drive-through as well.
Wow, so there's plenty of things to automate here. We're going to let you go, Rich, because we're about to go green. Let's get back to racing. That was Rich Hibbs there from iRaceControl, and the man currently running second in this race as we're getting ready for the green flag. Ricky Renner's going to lead us away. While we were talking to Rich, we saw that Desnoyers managed to jump into the pit lane, as looks like there is going to be another penalty on the cards for car number 420, or 470 rather. The simracers.com green car with, I believe, a penalty to their name. Oh, 3 wide at the back of the field there, making their way through. And Todd Schwartz still carrying a black flag to his name as moves are made.
Contact.
In the left hook, contact there. Looks like that's Dustin Neerhoof trying to make his way past, but ultimately not working out as Matt Gauthier in the 97 tries his best to get away from that WBM duo. There's a big pack behind them as well.
Yeah, and it looks like we got a black flag being cleared there by the 420 car, ladies and gentlemen. That is further at the back of the pack. That's Todd Schwartz, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, this McLaren has got to slow down. They do need to serve it, and they need to serve it quickly. Don't get me wrong, Bray Welch right behind has taken the steering wheel, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like Austin Diltz as well. He's getting there in the mix. You see Malik Bass in that Corvette. WBM on WBM as Bass goes wide.
No, he does. Very wide at Oak Tree. That's going to ruin his exit onto the back straight. Oak Tree is one of the most important corners on this circuit to get the exit right. Otherwise, you're going to be going backwards very quickly. But here we go as they make their way in towards Roller Coaster. Side by side between the Ferrari and the Corvette. Diego Zuccarelli moves past Malik Bass, and not without a couple of adventures.
Yeah, that was definitely a little bit tense there. We're looking at a little bit further up, though. It is indeed Jed Cotterman and Bradley Tidwell going at it. It's McLaren versus Mustang as they make their way around the final corner. Further up, though, it looks like we're going to see even more action here. Eric Martin getting under attack here from Brandon Dooley.
Yes, this is good racing here towards the front of this field, and a lot of racing to be had all the way through the field. It appears no matter where you are, you have someone to race with as Brandon Dooley gets a massive launch out of turn 1 and moves past Eric Martin into NASCAR Bend. Very nice move indeed. One of many teams that have already taken their first pit stop. A couple of others have peeled into the pits in the meantime. The Western Ohio 989 of Logan Watton has just jumped into the lane, and we also saw Denoyes come in as well. The Floppy Burb Racing, number 27, another one of many cars that have made their way into the lane. Looks like some connection issues potentially for Austin Diltz, if not another tow. Unfortunate there for Austin, who's had a really rough run of things in the first part of this race. But for the moment, keeping an eye on Joseph Yang as he tries to get his Mercedes further into the top 10.
Yeah, definitely not been the race for Austin Diltz. Don't get me wrong, we do love the guy, but I think being a new daddy is maybe taking a little bit of time away there, and he's definitely been a busy boy. But right now, Joseph Yang is going to be on the back of his teammate. It's Morgan Smith in that number 20, the Aston Martin, looking absolutely gorgeous. But will it be enough against the absolute sledgehammer of an AMG Mercedes?
I do love the Mercedes. It's one of my main cars, I guess you could say. When I decide to drive GT3, I do like to drive the Aston as well. I tend to stick to front-engine cars usually. But there's a wide variety of machinery in this race. The rear-engine Porsche currently under attack from Morgan Tiggy here.
Ooh.
Ryan Merriam, oh my God, that's so close. Ryan Merriam, who started this race on pole position, he is actually one of the teams that went in under the first caution, has managed to work his way back up to third, and he's only got the top 2 ahead of him that have yet to come in. Mr. Hibbs leading the way.
Well, it looks like something's happened with Malik Bass. Are we going to see another full course caution here? So it looks like that's Diego Zuccarelli there on the inside. There's Maliki. We did see him get a little bit loose earlier on as he comes around turn 1, gets a little bit of a wiggle there, maybe a little bit of neck coat, and round he goes. Thankfully, able to keep the course under green flag conditions.
And these GT3 cars do have traction control, but if it kicks in too hard, it can be very difficult to arrest a slide once you've already started it. So that is the dark side of driver aids right there. Well, Rich Hibbs now the one punching the hole in the air down Madison Avenue for everybody else. He's actually pulling away a little bit from Ricky Renner in the short term there. The McLaren does seem to have a great amount of straight line speed, but we need to keep an eye out for our pole sitter car, the Aeronaut 802, see what Ryan Merriam can do. Patrick Hamad, meanwhile, fighting for 15th place with Eric Martin, and just behind them, Bradley Tidwell and Emmett Lindquist side by side into Roller Coaster, and it looks like Looks like Lindquist is going to get that position in the short term in the Christmas sweater livery Mustang.
Yeah, there was definitely no freebies there. It was very much a Mustang sandwich, but having a little bit further up though, we got McLaren, and indeed a Aston Martin. Just to make sure I'm correct for the sake of Darwin, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a Mustang. It is indeed an Aston Martin there, as the McLarens are currently getting the better of it at this first turn. Albeit for how long, ladies and gentlemen? The battle is not over yet.
Yeah, Kevin Desnoyers making his way around the outside of turn 1, got on the power a little earlier and dispatches one of the McLarens coming into NASCAR Bend. What about the 11th place car of Jacob Cotterman? It's actually both Cottermans that he is bookended by. The Cotterman iRacing team running those orange McLarens. It's Jacob ahead and Jed bringing up the rear gunner position. Let's see, the Aston Martin all over the back of Jacob Cotterman here. Through the climbing S's. It's a difficult place to go side by side, as we've already seen so far tonight. So a wise decision would be to wait until the exit of Oak Tree to try and make your move. Speaking of, Joseph Yang and Morgan Smith side by side.
Yeah, so don't get me wrong, Morgan Smith currently leading the AM class right now. Joseph Yang currently in P7 overall and indeed P7 in Pro. But this is a good opportunity here for Morgan. If he can pull away with Joseph Yang, you see there right in the background is Brandon Dooley with Chris Springer a little bit further back. He's got about a 4-second gap over the AM second place.
Yes, this is looking interesting here. Kevin Desnoy is not too far behind these guys, as into the pits comes Richard Hibbs from the lead. That's around about 40 minutes of the race complete, 2 hours and 18 minutes on the clock. And you know what? Considering the length of a GT3 fuel stint, I think Rich is going to be able to make it home on only one more pit stop from there.
That seems ambitious, but fair play. If you think he can do it, he can do it. As we got full course yellow, I'm not sure why.
Well, he absolutely can do it because a GT3 fuel tank lasts more than an hour. About an hour and 10 minutes. Hour and 10 plus hour and 10 is 2 hours 20. He can make it home on an extra stop, unless I'm sorely mistaken, which I usually am not when it comes to these things. The full course yellow is indeed out, though, and a bit of a mystery what for exactly.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on this one, but you know what? Let's find out from the man himself. Rich, we're trying to wonder what has triggered the full course yellow on this occasion.
Total number of incident points. So we have 180 to trigger a full course caution, and that's what just got triggered, I'm assuming. I have it blocked off, so I can take advantage of this, even though I'm at basically the best time. Yeah, that's what we just hit here, and everyone needs to clean it up a bit. If we're getting 180 incident points in 40 minutes, we're not driving clean enough, and I don't want a race full of this, so I'm about to say that in the iRaceControl chat as well.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it does appear that Rich Hibbs is not a fan of darts because 180 is not the score on the door for the creator of iRaceControl. But Rich, it looks like you got a question here from Reese Gardner.
No, he doesn't.
Oh, all right, fine. We should leave you to your own devices, sir. But I've got to say, having a lot of fun here. And currently, you were indeed leading before you pit, and then a full course caution. It's definitely a little bit unfortunate for you there.
It could be fortunate. We'll see. If everyone else jumps into the pits here, I might gain some spots. We'll see.
All right, well, Rich, we're going to leave you to it and see if we can steal another driver during this safety car pace lap.
Yes, indeed. Let's figure out who we're going to bring in next here as I jump over to the Discord. Morgan Tiggy is here with us. And, well, Morgan, you were one of the cars that ultimately pitted under that first caution. Questions being raised over fuel strategy. I'm pretty confident that Rich Hibbs is going to be able to make it home on one more stop from here, having pitted under this caution. What about you guys?
That's an excellent question. Thanks for having me on. I was just talking to my teammate, and with fuel strategy, I think we're just staying out. Hard to know when we're going to see another caution. At the rate we've been going, it's possible we're going to be closer to that fuel limit before when we see another caution. So I think that's where we're going.
It's been a very solid race from you so far, running effective second place because we're still waiting on Ricky Renner to make his first stop and get on strategy with everyone else. So things are looking pretty good for you in the Aeronaut Mustang.
I am so sorry. Crew chief decided to talk when you were talking. What was the question?
Well, I'm just pointing out that you're doing pretty well right now, running effective second.
Oh yeah, we're trying to stay in it. The group is fast, but you know, this is going to be a race about keeping it on the track as much as possible and out of the pits. So we'll see if this run of consistency can keep going. I see we have Kevin really charging up the field, though he pits. So he's always going to be the dark horse we're watching out for here.
We'll certainly keep an eye out for that. For the moment, though, it's been looking like it's a bit of a chaotic race in the midfield. You're a bit far away from that part of the action, but who do you think are your closest competitors here in the short term? Who are you actually racing right now?
The driver ahead of me is who I'm keeping an eye on, though Matt
Fair answer.
behind is certainly racy. So the two of them are who we're paying attention to.
Excellent stuff. Well, thanks very much for joining us, Morgan. We'll still have another lap to go under this caution, but we'll let you get prepped for the eventual restart. Thanks very much for jumping in.
Hey, thank you.
Well, Morgan Teggy will be let go there, and it's a pretty good run that he's had so far. Once Ricky Renner pits, Zippy, that's going to be up 6 positions for the Rust Belt Racing number 16, which is quite an impressive run for here at the front of the field.
Yeah, I'm absolutely loving the variation we got here in strategy, because really, like, how on earth do you try and do this with, like, we've already had 3 full course yellows, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed Ricky Renner brings it in the pits. So that's going to move Ryan Merriam and indeed Morgan Tigay. They're going to move up a little bit. Let's see exactly who else is coming down pit road, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, it's going to be busy. There's 1. And there's 2. And we got a penalty as well for car 29.
Okay, that's the Corncob TV racing car of Patrick Hamard, potentially entering the pits too fast, but evidently black flag cleared. And okay, so yeah, I'm not too sure what the deal is there. Maybe for passing under yellow, I'm not entirely sure. But sometimes the automated caution system brings its quirks, including some black flags for what would be considered erroneous reasons in a road course context. So, yeah, interesting to see. But no harm, no foul. It was a brief heart attack moment. Patrick Hamard back out there, having taken the stop.
Well, I have some good news, ladies and gentlemen. We got a full course yellow and we got a full cup of tea. We are in.
Lovely. Fantastic job from the tea lady in question. Lights are out on the pace car, so we're going to be going green at the end of this lap. This has still been a solid drive from Ryan Merriam, but all things considered, having taken his stop 10 laps ago, he is going to be on the same strategy as everyone behind him, all the way down to Kevin Desnoyers. And Desnoyers is the driver that I will be looking out for the most. He is the quickest of them all at the moment. He has the fastest lap of the race, and he only pitted about 7 laps ago compared to everyone else. So a little bit offset in terms of strategy. It'll be interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, it certainly will, ladies and gentlemen. He is a potent driver, 8,292 I rating. It's definitely up in the top couple of percentage there. Certainly Spoiler Almeida, Conor Bell, Kane Halliburton, they would be the drivers I'd be thinking of in that kind of bracket. And ladies and gentlemen, if you do indeed want to go faster, by all means check out our friends at the Almeida Racing Academy. But if you're looking something for your lead though, you're going to need iRaceControl.
Indeed, the entire reason we're here today. iRaceControl putting this event on and showcasing their fantastic program which has allowed the officiating of this event to be streamlined and efficientifized. I mean, I'm basically just coming up with synonyms for streamlined at that point, but yeah, fantastic to see this program come into being. And well, as you said, we've already got Podium 1 on board using the program for their next season, and I hope more leagues join them.
Oh, absolutely. And indeed, I do have to wonder just how much time this could save. And I honestly feel it's going to be huge because not only that, at $5 a month, look at how much it's changing the racing. If you're certainly, I believe this works better in an endurance format without a doubt. Because initially I was kind of concerned doing a 3-hour race, endurance, and I'm like, okay, we're going to end up having an interesting race for 10 minutes and then we're going to be bored. Oh gosh, no. iRaceControl, thank you very much for this opportunity. And indeed, our first 4K debut broadcast, which I'm hearing nothing but positive reviews here in the chat and indeed on Facebook as well. Those who have messaged me, thank you very much. But we're going to have to put that on hold as we're going to get ready to go green for, I believe it is the 4th time, if not the 3rd time, ladies and gentlemen, I've lost count, as Ryan Merriam is going to be taking it away.
Here we go then, on the power, and Ryan Merriam brings us to the restart. Morgan Teggy holding on to 2nd place. Matt Gauthier, though, is going to be right on the attack. It's a Porsche leading, Mustangs 2 and 3, and then Dustin Nierhoff in the BMW, rounding out your top 4 and starting to pull away there from Joseph Yang's Mercedes. So another breakaway from our top group.
Yeah, but we've also got another battle emerging here. Morgan Smith has now got Chris Springer right up on his rear wing. This is going to be the battle for the AM win, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, Morgan Smith catching a little bit of the grass there as they're heading into the tight chicanes. Chris Springer backs off just a little bit. Oh, no!
Oh,
Smith goes round.
Dear. Oh, man, that is the 2nd WBM car that we've seen have issues here today, or WBM aligned, stopped in the middle of the S's. That is a very inconvenient position to be in, but he does manage to get rolling and spun around once the field goes by. Oh, no, that is a real shame for him. And, well, it looks like just catching the grass and spinning once again. We saw that for the other Aston Martin and Morgan Smith. Here's the chase cam view of it. And, oh.
Cold tires.
Okay. Yeah, cold tires indeed. But I've never seen a car get that unsettled over that curb before. That's a very strange incident.
I gotta say, power to the drivers of B and then also to Morgan Smith. They dodged him beautifully. And you know what? I think he's going to emerge out okay there. But that, I believe, is Rich Hibbs right behind him. Definitely did not get lucky there with the safety car.
No, certainly didn't. Looks like a bit of a longer stop than others. I think Hibbs might have had his own incident. Oh yeah, there we go. Whoops-a-daisy. Side-by-side contact in the S's. That was one of the Mustangs that he ended up making contact with. Fortunately, a long way away from any tyre bundles. VIR may be an old-school circuit, but it does have expansive runoffs.
Well, thank goodness for that, as things are starting to get even more frisky here in the mid-pack. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the battle here for P13, and it's going to be a Corvette and Aston Martin as your previous race leader, Ricky Brenner, right behind. Almost 4 pounds night rating. Ladies and gentlemen, 4 more points, and he'd be there. And right now, he's on the back of the 191 Corvette. He has a whole field of cars ahead of him, standing in his way if he wants to emerge back at the top of the podium. Meantime, Diego Zuccarelli has picked up a slowdown. He's going to have to serve it, but what's that going to mean for the rest of the pack behind him as well?
Very popular spot to get a slowdown, the initial S's there. And the problem that drivers face is, when do you clear it? It is possible to clear it right away, but it's probably better at this circuit anyway to clear it once you get to here, around about the exit of Oak Tree. Speaking of side-by-side, the 191 Corvette that we've seen plenty of thus far in this race. Malik Bass making his way past Ricky Renner, who had the pleasure of leading the race for a period, but ultimately, thanks to the pit stop, comes back into the midfield, and this is going to be a very interesting battle with a slow BMW, making things a little bit more difficult. Oh, I think that's a lapped car, potentially.
No, it's not. It's position.
No? Ah, okay. Oh, yeah, it's Gray Welch, isn't it? In the Hate Pickles, number 28.
Well, that's fair. Gray Welch there. 1800 iRain, definitely no slouch, but not quite maybe in the 4K pace, and understandably so. That's nothing to criticise you on there, Gray. I definitely wouldn't be either, but Ricky Renner still going out of there with Malik Bates. Certainly Malik is giving him a good run for his money, and it looks like Gray Welch now looking to fight back as he goes side by side, heading towards the left-hander.
Whoa, easy does it. Logan Watton, who recently had to serve a slowdown, making the move as that was, I believe, Nickerson potentially that went off there. And that's not ideal. No, it's Drew Schiller that went off, not Courtney Nickerson ahead. So, obviously, these early stages of the stint are proving quite difficult for a lot of these drivers. Consistency seems to be hard to find for everybody.
Yeah, definitely VIR. You've got to absolutely push it to grade 9, ladies and gentlemen, indeed, to car number 9, cloud number 9, whichever form of 9 out of 10 you want to kind of try and relate to. But Malik Bass only got a slowdown. He needs to serve it quick, and there you go, pulls off the racing line. He's going to need to get that served, and yep, there you go. But what has that have meant for him? Well, he's now going to be tangled amongst 4 cars, ladies and gentlemen. 2 BMWs right ahead, a Mustang behind, and indeed another car at the front of the field, and Aston Martin there. He's going to be under attack, as indeed it looks like that Mustang of Philip Scott is going to potentially line him up for a move.
Maybe, but a bit too far back to make it there into roller coaster, and it looks like Bass will be pushing once more. Side by side behind for 21st position, Todd Schwartz and Landon Norris. These guys both fighting around the area that they qualified in now, and no difference in strategy between them either. Pitted at the same time under the previous caution, but it's the 3rd tour through the pits for Landon Norris and the 2nd tour through the pits for Todd Schwartz. So maybe a little bit of strategy difference between those cars there, but still fighting hard on track for their respective positions. While Patrick Hamad has rejoined this battle, and the Hate Pickles BMW is proving a bit of a thorn in the side of Malik.
Oh. Yeah, definitely looks like the Hate Pickles is really getting involved in Gray Welch there.
Oh, no! And around he goes, does Patrick Hamad. And it looks like he's lost the boot lid as well. That's unfortunate. Might have to see if there's anything from Race Control to say about that.
Well,
bye-bye.
It is now an open concept BMW, ladies and gentlemen. It may be faster, but I have a feeling on this occasion it won't be, as we see Chris Springer making a pass there on Dustin Neerhoop further up in the field. Currently P6 overall, but P1 in class. But ladies and gentlemen, this could be detrimental here in the endurance run here for Patrick Hamad, as he's now got Landon Norris right behind him.
And there's a change for the lead as well. Morgan Teggy has made his way past Ryan Merriam. And so the Mustang now leads that Rust Belt Racing Mustang again with one of the best liveries in this field. And right up the front is Morgan. He'll be showing it for all the world to see as the top 4 continue their fight here. Unfortunately, it seems in the short term we've lost Gray Welch and the Hate Pickles BMW. He's towed back to the pits. But for now, Matt Gauthier and Kevin Desnoyer. That's actually worth pointing out. Kevin Desnoyer coming into the fastest lap once again. 1:45.014 is now the pace being set here. And it's looking like he might make short work of that top 3 with that kind of pace. Meanwhile, Dustin Neerhoof and Emmett Lindquist fighting over 7th.
Oh, well, that Christmas present was almost unwrapped at that point. The Mustang getting incredibly close there to the nose of the BMW, the driver of the number 12. But indeed, it looks like we're going to have an absolutely fantastic battle here. Joseph Yang leading this pack, but Chris Springer right behind. He's already dealt with Lindquist. He's already dealt with Neerhoop. Can he deal with a few people more and find his way up towards the top 5?
That is the question. Springer.
Oh, whoa.
Oh. Okay. Neerhoof, evidently, with some big dramas there, ends up on the back straight. Yeah, I think that car is going to get a massive penalty automatically assigned to them for that. Neerhoof catching the grass, and oh my goodness, he's struggling to slow that thing down. Yeah, I think it's good that it was shortly after a caution and the field is still relatively bunched together, because if there were cars there, that would have been absolutely disastrous. He is technically in the lead of the race, but
I'm curious.
Surely he would have gotten a penalty there. I think it might be assigned at the line. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, there we go. The system has flagged him as not driving half of the lap. But I mean, what do you do in that situation? There's no wall between that corner and the back straight. So if you make a mistake and you go off track, you end up on the back straight. What are you going to do? Are you going to try and backtrack to the exact position you went off track? No.
I gotta admit, that was the best off track I think we've ever seen here on Pit Road Productions. I don't know if a car license is going to be enough. I think he might need a pilot's license for part of that, but right now he's got a different problem because, ladies and gentlemen, the lead back is indeed right behind him. I said, what about to go to the leader there? No, indeed, Morgan Tigay. He's probably going to be wondering, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, why am I second suddenly? What happened? Well, now we'll see them catch up, and Nierhoff is on the headlight flash. Not entirely sure if or what he is trying to communicate there, but down the back stretch we come. Once again.
You know what?
Yeah, he's going to be coming into the pits at the end of this one.
I'm willing to bet they listen to the broadcast, and it is 100%. It's a photo opportunity. Morgan's like, look, I want a WM car at the front of this race. I don't care how you do it. Just get it there so we can see we led a lap. All right, technically he did it. Has become full course yellow.
Yep, that's another mechanical black flag triggering a caution there for Josh Betts. And this is an issue for Dustin Nierhoff because the automated caution system means that the pit road is closed at the moment. And that's not the fault of iRaceControl. That is the fault of iRacing's built-in system. The pit entry closes when the caution flag comes out, so at the moment, Nierhoff can't come in to serve that penalty.
This could be catastrophic here for Nierhoff. Let's find out exactly what happened to Josh Betts. Gets a little bit loose there, going through the chicane, and boom, left front takes the brunt up the head. And you can see there that I do believe that suspension's failed because that wheel is not rotating at all.
I'm no expert, but it would appear that wheel is no longer attached to the rest of the car. So Josh Betts will hopefully be able to make it back to the pits under his own power. It looks like he will be able to. But for everyone else now, it is the safety car making its fourth appearance, I believe, in this event.
I believe so.
Yeah, we're only an hour in. We're only an hour in, and we've had 3 cautions come out. This is certainly quite a difficult situation to be in if you're one of the drivers trying to make their way up. I mean, obviously, sometimes a caution can be a benefit, right? Because if you've got a big gap to the car ahead, the caution comes out, that gap has been erased. But by the same token, if you've got a long way behind you to the next car and you're just trying to manage your pace, suddenly you've got them right behind you again.
Yeah, certainly it's definitely interesting indeed, but I have put out a little bit of a request here to see if we can get Dustin Nierhoff to appear in the interview booth. That would be absolutely hilarious. I just sent a message to Austin Diltz. Now, last time I checked, he had indeed retired the car. I've not seen it out for a while. I do wonder if Austin can get him for us.
Yeah, I wonder too. Well, we'll see if we can get some perspective from this Team Bang Gang car. But as he
I know
approaches,
what you're saying.
I'm just reading the team name. I don't know. Dustin Nierhoff coming back to the same point on the racetrack where he re-entered it after his incident. And considering they have to complete 1 lap, I believe, under caution before the pit road opens. I'm unsure. My memory is a bit fuzzy on the exact procedure. I had a lot of experience with this when I was driving in an endurance league that used the iRacing system. We'll have to wait and see if Nierhoff comes into the lane.
Yeah, certainly. I would very much like to have a chat with this gentleman, and I can see them in the WBM Discord. A load of them are indeed hanging out. Austin Diltz is there. We've got Dylan Newhart there, ladies and gentlemen. We met him over at WDCR, and he ended up getting scouted by WBM. Fair play to him. He's currently just got home from school for the holidays, and definitely glad to see him back. We'll have the pleasure of seeing him here on Thursday night show indeed as well. I'm definitely looking forward to it, as indeed that's going to be a load of people coming in. Now, this could actually work out for Neerhoof. He may have found a way to beat the Matrix here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have to find out.
Yeah, well, he is going to have to... I get the feeling it's going to be a massive stop and hold for Neerhoof. Literally everyone just about making their way into the pit lane from here. And I think this is going to eliminate any real strategy advantages that people have, because we're well inside the window for it to only be one more stop needed. So you take a stop now, you only need to probably fill it about 90% of the way at the next stop, and you're good to the end of the race. Everyone pulling away as Neerhoof waits for that penalty to tick down. This is going to be painful.
Yeah, I'm definitely keeping an eye on it. Don't get me wrong, we got the safety car still going around, but I just want to see just how long this is going to be. He's going to be held there in the pits.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I don't know the exact amount that it gives you for, like, you know, depending on the intensity of a cut track, but I would imagine it is in excess of a minute that Neerhoof is going to have to stop there. He's got some friends, though, coming up behind him there. That's Kevin Desnoyer, who's made his way back into the lane. And actually, an interesting stop there from the team boxer Brett number 35, as Neerhoof finally gets going. That's a minute and 15 seconds stopped for him. Well, away he's going to go again at the very back of the field. But I am also interested in Kevin Desnoyer's stop there. A minute and 2 seconds stop there for the Aston Martin that has consistently been a sort of race leader-elect, you could say. Fantastic pace. The fastest car in the field at the moment. But why was their stop so long?
All we can do is wonder at this point. I'm taking a look here in the IRC Enduro Discord, and there is no news to report there, at least on his side. I'm looking out for some info, but it's fair to say that Dustin Neerhoof's little excursion, it's fair to say that crime didn't pay on this occasion.
Certainly not. Neerhoof was the one who had to pay, and he'll come back out dead last of the cars still running. Of course, we have unfortunately lost Austin Diltz already. He was the first retirement. And Gray Welch in the Hate Pickles BMW, towing back to pit lane after his incident in the lower S's. We still have 26 of our 28 starters running, and plenty of competition at the front of the field. Ricky Renner moving back to the race lead. The top 7 cars stayed out of the pits under this caution. And considering how easily the caution seems to be coming out, we're going to be seeing quite a bit more.
Well, Dustin, we managed to steal you in the booth, albeit very quickly. Do you want to tell us a little bit there about your course-cutting measures? Should we start calling you the groundskeeper?
Oh, yeah. I saw the grass was getting a little high over there. Figured, you know, I got to chop it down a little bit, and just did my duties.
Well, indeed, it was definitely one of the most dramatic off-tracks we've seen here on Pit Road Productions. We did indeed try to get you in the booth a little bit earlier, but Dustin, we are going to have to catch up with you in a few short minutes. We're going to put you back in the interview weighing booth. As indeed, we go green, green, green.
Just about. We're still waiting for Ricky Renner to actually accelerate here. I believe he's waiting for the actual green flag to start accelerating. And away we go. Back to the restart. And Ricky Renner will have a solid lead over Philip Scott, Landon Norris, Landon Slagan, and Richard Hibbs, rounding out your top 5 as they're 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Pretty much every position further behind. Rich Hibbs under a lot of pressure now from Landon Slagan as he made the move for 4th. Brandon Dooley, Morgan Smith, and Todd Schwartz aren't too far behind either. This is looking like some intense battling off this caution.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of damage on the front of that Acura there of Brandon Dooley, but what I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, managed to steal Dylan Newhart into the booth as well. Now, Dylan, you're pretty capable in a GT3 car. How would you be doing around here in VIR?
I actually very much enjoy VIRs and as much of the rest of the team disagrees. But you know, I mean, I gotta say I would at least be in front of Dustin. He's kind of embarrassing the team right now. He's got to be doing better.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, shots fired there from Dylan Newhart, but right now his teammate, indeed Morgan Smith, has managed to make his way back up to 5th place overall. As I say that, that's Patrick Hamann. He's gone around in that BMW. Ladies and gentlemen, he's gone completely off course. Dustin Neerhoop would indeed be proud of such antics. Thankfully, enough turf for the both of them. But right now, it's worked out very poorly as Patrick Hamann falls back to 25th place overall.
Yeah, that he does. The Corn Cob TV Racing BMW 26th and last. It looks like Landon Norris has also had a problem. He's falling way down the order. I think it might be a network issue that the number 96 is suffering from. But we'll see. Yet more to come from this race, Dylan. I hear that you are back for the holidays, and so you might be able to make some more appearances on Pit Road Productions broadcasts in the future.
Oh yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Definitely this Thursday, and you know, if there's any other free races, you know, I'm definitely willing to show up. I got nothing to do other than drive now for a month or so, so I will definitely be around.
Well, that's a fantastic position to be in. Well, hopefully we're chatting to you once again very soon, Dylan. Thanks very much for joining us, and hopefully we're seeing you again soon.
Speak up, Reese. I can't hear you, buddy, but indeed, this man definitely would want to hear you. It's Morgan Tegay. He's currently there, and he's currently applying the pressure there to the back of Jed Connerman. Indeed, it's going to be the two brothers, I believe, ahead. Two orange McLarens, indeed, against one Mustang. Will he emerge victorious there? Jacob at the front, Jacket in the second, and indeed Morgan right behind. Can the mighty Mustang of Morgan, as all three cars take to the grass, ladies and gentlemen, monkey see, monkey do, or indeed follow the leader at high speed as they head down to Oak Tree. And look at the run there from Morgan. Is he going to be able to keep getting the moves going as Chris Springer is right down to slipstream as well?
I've moved my mic a little bit closer to my mouth, so hopefully that's going to help things a little bit. Look at this fight. This is looking very interesting here. This Corvette has been having a bit of trouble over the last couple of laps. Landon Slagan with starting in 22nd place. He's actually amongst a lot of cars that were much higher up the field than he was. The Cotterman iRacing team cars, though, were around the same position in qualifying. So on pace, it looks like the three drivers at the front of that pack are pretty closely matched. But you look further behind to the Mustang of Morgan Tegay. Morgan was leading the race ever so briefly before the last caution came out, and so he's going to be right on the back of these guys. But it looks like the Connermans are having quite a nice time out there,
yes,
flying in formation.
This is exactly what I've been wanting to see for a long time. If they can keep this together, this could work out very beneficial. But Morgan is having none of it. Ladies and gentlemen, that Mustang applying pressure, and it's not going to be enough. These guys can absolutely sandwich that Mustang there, but too late. He's got to run. He's seen an opportunity, and he has indeed gone for it. Gets past Jacob, but can he get past Jed as well?
It looks like he will, because Jed just ran over the track limits there through the S's and got a slowdown, so he's going to have to pull over at some point. That's so funny. It was like, it reminded me of watching those dash cams of truckers on the highway blocking both lanes. That was basically what we saw from the Cottermans there. So Morgan Tegay, I should say, clearing one of them, and he will clear the next right here as Jed Cotterman will have to pull over right now to serve that slowdown. He lifts off, and the Mustang will go. So both orange McLarens dispatched, and it looks like the other McLaren is going to be having some trouble from the Porsche of Chris Springer, who gets alongside him down the back straight. He's going to be on the outside, though, coming into Roller Coaster. He's going to dispatch one of them, can't quite get the other.
Yeah, that was incredibly close. I got to say, Chris Springer hit. I've got him showing as an AM. I'm going to double check that because 2800 IR, he's going to be right near the threshold. Ladies and gentlemen, we will indeed investigate, but right now, applying a good amount of pressure to the back of that McLaren, as it looks like one of the, that looked like a WBM car, but I may be mistaken there, getting side by side. Indeed I am. That's Matt Gauthier going side by side there with Kevin Desnoyers.
Yes, so Kevin on the recovery here after his abnormally long pit stop, and potentially he sped in pit lane to trigger that. I'm not entirely sure. but quite some time spent at a standstill, and well, he's amongst drivers that he is clearly a lot faster than and is more confident on the brakes. Unfortunately, you got a car right in front of you in a braking zone. The only thing you're going to do is hit him. So it looks like Kevin's going to have to back things off just a little bit. On board briefly with Chris Springer as he tries his best to take down the Cottermans here. The slipstream is on through the climbing S's, and through all of this, no one has still managed to make their way past Landon Slagan in the Corvette up the front of this pack.
Yeah, he's doing absolutely fantastic to hold on. Don't get me wrong, that Corvette was looking really loose at times.
Oh!
And goes the long way round, and look at the absolute accordion of cars behind him. It's going to be an absolute gong show. Too wide, ladies and gentlemen. Are we going to see the mighty Kevin Desnoyers make an absolute slingshot? Can he do 1, 2, maybe even 3 cars on the back straightaway?
Oh, this could be very interesting indeed. In the slipstream of Jacob Cotterman. And it looks like he'll at least make that move into roller coaster, maybe.
Look behind you.
Oh, God. Oh, no. Neerhoof coming together with the Mustang, and Denoyers is off the circuit too. That is a massive incident that we just saw.
Yeah, that looked like an old comedy of errors. And look at that, Logan Watson is not happy, ladies and gentlemen. It looks like there's a little bit of damage on the front of that Aston Martin, as indeed he brings it down pit road.
Yeah, it looks like Logan Watson unfortunately went a bit deep in roller coaster. He ended up getting into Jacob Cotterman, who was then hit into Kevin Desnoyers. So that was a big old chain reaction that we saw there.
Yeah, definitely absolutely huge. Let's have a quick look and see what happened. I've got a couple of incidents here to catch up on. Here's what happened to Emmett Lindquist here. It's 3 wide. That's Logan Watton in the middle. Dustin Neerhoop on the inside. You see there, Neerhoop comes across. Well, Lindquist gets caught in it, and I'm not quite sure where Watton got involved as well.
Yeah, Watton was 3 wide with them at one point, and it looks to me like he just got on the brakes too late here. Yeah, there was no way he was making the apex. Gets into the McLaren, hits the Aston Martin as well of Desnoyers, and so yeah, that's far from ideal for Logan Watton. He may have a couple of slaps on the wrist hanging over his head from that one.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure why he was flashing on that one, because it looked like he went a bit deep, but don't get me wrong, maybe not too keen about the 3 wide. Got a little bit scary there, but a couple of incidents all occurring in the same bit of real estate there. But let's have a look here with Will Bailey, who's now got Dustin Neerhoop right behind him. And indeed, Emmett Lindquist has managed to emerge slightly more victorious. He's about a second ahead of this pack.
Don't forget, Neerhoof was also one of the cars that was involved in that incident we just saw, albeit right behind it. As the Mustang runs deep, Neerhoof is going to make his way past Will Bailey in short order through roller coaster. It's been a pretty impressive recovery so far from Neerhoof. Don't forget, he was all the way at the back of the field after his penalty, but since the cautions ended, he's made his way back up to 15th now. He's only 6 positions down from his starting spot. He'll be hoping that he doesn't hit the grass and go for a tour across the infield again.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that Pit Road Productions is indeed chip-worthy entertainment. I've just caught the girlfriend find a secret, not a secret stash there, and indeed she is munching away. But right now, Joseph Yang, I don't know if he's hungry, but indeed Emmett Lindquist is, as he's made a move up on the inside of that AMG Mercedes. Almost looked like 3 wide there through the left-hander. Thankfully, they managed to get it down into single file, down into 2, ladies and gentlemen, down into 1, as Joseph Yang absolutely cheered there, as the Corvette of Landon Slagan has absolutely been annihilated there. Multiple cars making their way by.
Yeah, Landon Slagan has to lift
my
off.
Word.
Only just to allow Neerhoof through. Oh, this has turned out to be a much more intense race than I anticipated, Zippy. I'm sure you're thinking the same. I thought to myself last night when I was going to bed, okay, I've got a 3-hour endurance race tomorrow morning. Better get ready for, podcast mode, because that's usually what endurance races turn out to be. That is not the case here. We're basically getting a series of short sprints over 3 hours.
Oh, it's an absolute belter. It's the kind of race that just, honestly, it just makes your bollocks tingle. It is absolutely phenomenal. question. I don't care. I'll say it on a stream. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the kind of quality we've got going on here. Let's look at this fantastic battle. Nathan Nickerson there, getting right up, getting a little bit there, a bit friendly there with the BMW, Dustin Neerhoop. But indeed, we've got multiple battles happening throughout. Let's take a quick look here at the lead right now, as Ricky Renner has not been able to shake off the Mustang of Philip Scott. Philip Scott there, he's got about a 1,500 I rating deficit, but that is not holding him back. He's been able to stay true to that Aston Martin at the front of the pack for quite some time.
Both of these cars only just set their quickest times of the race. Still far away from the fastest lap that Kevin Desnoyers managed to set. But these guys are both at their max pace at the moment. Oh, speaking of Desnoyers, he's trying his best to make his way through on NASCAR Bend. That's the Floppy Burb Racing Mustang. Scram. I love that. With the car of Drew Schiller behind him, now falling under pressure from Patrick Hamard, who is on his own recovery. But worth pointing out for the lead, Philip Scott, 0.3 of a second faster than Ricky Renner on the last lap. So it looks like the Mustang and the Aston will be fighting for some time yet, as we focus on Rich Price, who has taken over the Ferrari from Diego Zuccarelli.
Well, definitely glad that you remembered that as well. Oh, look at that move there. Desroy is able to keep it on the track, gets the move done. And ladies and gentlemen, honestly, Desroy, he's an absolute machine. Like, we got to talk to this guy at some point, but right now, he's got his next target, indeed, in his crosshairs. And indeed, he should put some crosshairs on the front of that Aston Martin. That's Landon Slagen. It's going to be next on the chopping block in that mindlessly beautiful callback. But I've got to say, Will Bailey, if I exclude the WBM pace that we're familiar with, I've got to say, he is pretty up there. Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, who do we think's got the nicest paint here today at VIR? By all means, start calling out some car numbers or indeed some names, as there's definitely a few contenders in the mix.
Oh yeah, I think all of the teams today have turned up with some fantastic liveries on their cars. I always appreciate it when we have a nice looking field. Desnoyers, meanwhile, oh my goodness, what a run it is out of Hogben. He's going to get the run on the 81 of Landon Slagen. He's going to be on the outside for turn 1, but late on the brakes, might be able to get it done, and he certainly will. Looks like Slagen is lifting off ever so slightly, and Rich Price is going to have half a chance of getting past, but ultimately it doesn't work. So a lot of racing going on here in the lower midfield, and remember, all of this fighting is only happening for 15th place. They're racing like they're racing for the win.
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic race. This is honestly one of the... It is, as you said, I thought it was going to be in podcast mode, and I am very happy to say that I'm wrong. This is absolutely phenomenal. Rich Hibbs, I'm sorry, I'm going to call you out. We need to do at least one of these every month. I would happily love to see that on the channel. Don't get me wrong, Sunday nights we usually keep reserved for doing Sweet FA, ladies and gentlemen, but if it's going to be like this, we're going to have to see more of them. And indeed, an even bigger grid. We had about just short of a 30-car grid. We had 28 cars today. I'd love to see this with a 50-car grid. Ladies and gentlemen, I know a few drivers would be interested. If you are, by all means, let me know.
I might have to invest in a hardware upgrade for my PC if we end up getting 50 cars. My computer, especially since the most recent build, tends to struggle a bit, but I'm going to wait for the AI and crypto bubble to burst and bring prices back down. Anyway, we get the move done here for Kevin Desnoyers as he makes his way past Will Bailey, back up to 15th place. Not the first time we've had to see Desnoyers make a recovery. He's had a pretty tough race, all things considered. We look further back here.
Carry on, as you were.
No, you carry on, I'm done.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, finding Reece Gardner short on words at one point, or indeed he's decided to give me a chance. As Malik Bass has been getting into some interesting action. Let's find out exactly what happened to him on lap 38.
All right, so Malik has had a few adventures so far in this race. Coming into Oak Tree, ended up going off the circuit, went off the circuit again at Oak Tree itself, and that is an interesting dragging of the brakes there. Potentially got a slowdown from that and had to clear it. Now he is back behind Josh Betts in the simraces.com red machine. And for the moment, would appear that the battle is on between them. Another caution flag's come out. Some mechanical black flag somewhere has triggered that. Either that or they've reached another incident threshold, as Rich hinted to us when he was talking to us last. Let's see what happened here. Oh, looks like behind the Ferrari, is that Hamad going off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a couple of cars all in this quick succession, have a couple of off tracks. So I do have a wonder if that is what's caused it. But ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen here with the battle at the front? You see Ricky Renner there has been able to hold off there from Philip Scott. And indeed, are we going to see a huge change up in the order as it stands? Don't get me wrong, these guys pulled away about 4 seconds from Rich Hibbs. Don't get me wrong, he was at the back of this field earlier. Don't ask me what magic he's pulled to be able to get himself back into third place. Morgan Smith, he's recovered as well. He's currently in P4 overall and leading the amateur class for Chris Springer, who's been a really good run for his money in that Porsche, currently in PA, about 4 places back.
Indeed. I think what's benefited Rich Hibbs is the fact that he stayed out under the first caution. That gave him the track position that he then needed to execute his pit stop under the second or third caution, I believe. And he managed to stay in the top 3 as a result. See, this is what you need to think about when you have an endurance race with yellow flag periods, with safety cars. Sometimes staying out early is going to benefit you later on.
Oh, absolutely. And certainly, honestly, on this kind of scenario, I don't know how on earth I would think about planning the race strategy. This is where you need somebody almost dedicated for doing it for you. And you have got to wonder what is the best way to go. Certainly, it's not just about making sure you got enough fuel, it's the tires as well. Don't get me wrong, the tires can generally last an hour, but there is definitely a little bit of a tire curve, I find. But you know what? I do need somebody who's a bit more in tune with the GT3s to explain that. I would love to steal Morgan Smith right now because he really gets into the analytics, but I'm going to have to try and steal him. But you know what? Let's see if we can get somebody to round him up for us.
Yes, all right. Well, while you work on that in the background, Zippy, we'll keep an eye out on whether anyone is coming into pit lane under this caution period. It looks like everyone is either 10, 13 or 18 laps into their fuel stint at the moment. And I don't see anyone really coming into the pits on this lap. It's too early to get home for the final stint. The pit window for the last stint is going to begin at about an hour and 10 minutes to go. We are still about 23, 24 minutes away from that happening.
Oh, absolutely, and certainly the strategy is going to be incredible, ladies and gentlemen. We are trying to find some people to interview. Let's see if we can have a chat here with Landon Norris. Now, Landon, I understand that this race has definitely been a little bit of ups and downs for you so far, but don't get me wrong, the strength of field is absolutely incredible. Are you able to pick up any tips for going faster here from some of these drivers?
One, don't live in an area that's currently going through a little bit of a snowstorm. But other than that, I mean, of course, just make sure you rotate the car, keep it consistent, don't be afraid to use traction control and ABS, and find what's comfortable for you. And that's all I got.
Well, Landon, I've definitely got to agree with you there, and certainly we actually got a good dump in the snow here in Nova Scotia. May I ask, whereabouts are you in the world, sir?
I reside in around in the grand old United States in the old North State, North Carolina.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully he will indeed do North Carolina proud. The driver of the number 96, representing that beautiful Ford Mustang. He's going to be in for a busy race indeed. Certainly, he's got about an hour and a half to go and choosing not to take to the pits. Landon, what's your logic on this strategy here? What do you think is going to be the winning play?
I'm just going to keep my foot to the floor, and I won't stop until I see God or the checkered flag. But genuinely, though, I do have to play smart here, as I am a lap down to the internet issues and, just power surge. But just play it smart. No wrecks, no nothing, no jokes. Let's just get her done.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting to like this guy, Landon Norris. I'm trying to think which NASCAR driver he quoted, but I do remember the move he did. He literally put it into the wall and did it exactly like you see in iRacing, coasted around and actually managed to save himself from being eliminated. I'm sure Reese will know, if not Landon will know.
That's
and then
Ross Chastain.
Ross Chastain, I knew that you would know. And then not only that, get her down, lay with the cable guy, ladies and gentlemen. fantastic comedian, part of the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. And if you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, there is a commentator in this booth who does also do a little bit of stand-up comedy, and it's not Reese Gardner. But Landon, we are indeed going to leave you to it for now, as looks like you're being given a wave around. This could be a good opportunity for you to try and get yourself back in this race.
Yes, sir, it will. Yes, sir, it will. But I'm just ready to keep my head down, get her done. But
Well,
yep.
attaboy,
Excellent
Landon.
stuff.
Attaboy. We'll leave you to it, sir. Good luck.
All right, and go Niners. UNC Charlotte.
Excellent stuff from Landon Norris there. Interesting. Zippy, I did say that I wasn't expecting anyone to come into the pits, and we saw like 17 people come into the pit lane under that caution period. Morgan Smith is currently the leader of the cars that have just pitted, and we go all the way back to 24th place Christian Gone to see the last car that pitted under this caution period. So, yeah, interesting decision, because judging by the fuel run that these GT3s can have, all those guys are going to have to splash and dash in the last 15 or so minutes.
Yeah, all they can do is hope that they get another full course yellow, because don't get me wrong, another full course yellow could mean they could save enough fuel that they could just about make it round. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe we're going to see a little bit of fuel saving happening near the end. We might see some with all-out battles. We might see some that really just have to basically go at it with a straw. It's going to be an absolute belter, but we do indeed have a new leader of the amateur standings right now. Drew Schiller has made his way up there in the Mustang.
Nice job to get into P4 overall for the moment, and he's on the same strategy as everyone around him. We have some insane recoveries being made, partially thanks to all of those cars pitting. Dustin Neerhoof, who we saw at the back after cutting off half the circuit after a mistake, he's back into the lead. Kevin Desnoyer, meanwhile, back into third after the last time we checked in on him being hit off the track. So, yeah, at the moment, I genuinely can't pick a clear winner from this. I think this result isn't completely up in the air.
Well, it definitely could go a lot of different ways, but let's not forget about this man here, Joseph Yang. Now, we've seen him here on Pit Road Productions many a time, and indeed, I've raced him in BIS and indeed in Canada Racing League, and I know this guy can drive. Very mild-mannered, very polite, and very good sportsmanship indeed. I've actually raced him in the Spec Racer Ford as well on that one. Actually, no, I'm trying to think. It's a different race. He did give me a little bit of a punt. So, Joseph, I'm not forgiving you for that. But for the most part, he's a fair racer. And it may have been me. I'm going to disagree. I admit my mistakes, except to my girlfriend. And I know she's listening. And I know she's going to give me a scathing message for that. But right now, he's going to have to make sure he's got it in check, as Justin Neerhoof has absolutely run away at the start.
Good start from Neerhoof as we're back under green. And Joseph Yang now under pressure from Kevin Desnoyer as we go back to Morgan Smith, the leader of the cars that are pitted just up here behind David Grimm, who has taken over the Vortex Sim Team number 81. That car was started by Landon Slagan, and it's one of quite a few two-driver teams in this field. This is Grimm's first time in the car, and he has got a load of fast drivers right behind him, still getting their tyres up to temperature.
Yeah, I think the pressure is definitely going to be intense for him, and indeed the Corvette can be a little bit slippery at times, but Morgan Smith, he's going to be keen, he's going to be familiar, and I have to think as well, the pace car laps actually must help a little bit there with tyre warm-up, but I'm not seeing too many people weaving around in that, as, oh dear, David Grimm gets a little bit sideways, thankfully able to safely rejoin him. Matt Gauthier looking to try and capitalise on that, as is Emmett Lindquist right behind him. Ricky Renner looking to try and make moves up there as well, as is Nathan Nickerson, currently up 12 positions, but right now, the hard charger in the field, ladies and gentlemen, is currently in P2 and looking to try and take the lead here from Dustin Neerhoof.
Here we go then. The Aston Martin gets up the inside into the first part of the Intruder roller coaster, but that's the outside for the actual corner. A little bit of side-by-side contact between them. Neerhoof tries to hold on, but the outside line almost never works there. And Kevin Desnoyers is back through to the lead of the race. Joseph Yang now making a big run here. And with Neerhoof slightly offline in the last few corners, this could be the chance that he needs to get into second.
Absolute belter of a race, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, Joseph Yang going to be up there applying the pressure near hoop now. Is he going to defend or is he going to try and stay there in the draft of that 8,292 iRating driver, the 35 of Kevin Desnoyers? Further back, though, it's all again happening in the mid-pack. It looks like David Grimm is back in the track, and indeed, Matt Gauthier still applying pressure there. He's going to try and make a move on the outside. Will he go for the over-under? Because right behind him is Emmett Lindquist as well.
Yeah, this is going to be a very tough job here for Emmett Lindquist and also for David Grimm. Worth pointing out that there is a lot of form behind that Vortex Sim Team 81. The information we've been given noting that Grimm and Slagan were actually the LMP2 winning pair in the 2025 iRacing 6 Hours of the Glen in their split, which is certainly a great achievement. But they are in a very different car to that Dallara P217. The Corvette treating them okay for the moment. They're holding nicely onto P7, but could it be P8 in a few moments as they get a little tap from the rear from Matt Gauthier? Gauthier runs wide and Emmett Lindquist says, "Thank you very much, mate. I'm going to move straight through."
Yeah, that definitely backfired there for Gauthier, and indeed Lindquist just absolutely capitalized on that. Ricky Renner getting a front row seat to the show, but indeed we got a 5-car pack starting to emerge here as they're making their way down the back straight. Morgan Smith has run away, and rightfully so. He needs to get away from this battle as fast as he can and try and secure Drew Schiller, who's about 2.4 seconds ahead. But right now, Ricky Renner trying to find his way back to the front of the grid, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed having potentially some slower traffic ahead. Maybe, maybe not. David Grimm really going to have his work cut out. He has got drivers behind him with more than double his iRating, if not higher, all trying to find their way through as Drew Schiller further up is indeed going to be next on the chopping block after Morgan Smith.
Oh, indeed he is, and there's a big defense there from Grimm as he tries to keep Gauthier behind, but the Mustang, last of the late breakers into turn 1, and gets on the power nicely. That'll become the inside for NASCAR Bend, so Grimm's going to have to keep an eye out for that. Move made, and Matt Gauthier is up into P8. Now Ricky Renner's up next, and he takes advantage, slips up the inside into left hook, but Grimm's going to try and hold on.
Yeah, I don't think Grimm was quite ready for that. As indeed, you do not want to go too high from there. I thought it was going to end in chaos. We had a 4-5-car pileup, ladies and gentlemen. And look at that in the background. Jed Coleman getting the accident. Something that's happened with Christian Gone as well. Sorry, Christian Gone as well. That beautiful, I believe Chris Springer was driving that earlier as well. The 139, yeah, Chris Springer was in that earlier. Looks like they've had an incident of falling a little bit further back. But right now as well, Josh Betts there. He's been fighting from the league base for a good portion of this race. And indeed, these guys are back at it again. But we're going to leave them to it there as we merge back here with Emmett Lindquist, and indeed Ricky Renner has made his way round Matt Gauthier.
Yeah, it looks like a very wide run through Oak Tree for Gauthier, and actually ran off the circuit. That's the reason why that move was made. Meanwhile, David Grimm now has more company. Nathan Nickerson has taken over from Courtney Nickerson in the simraces.com green Porsche, and Grimm lets him go. Philip Scott, the next up, riding on board with him, the view behind and in front. Jed Cotterman piling the pressure on in the McLaren. Will Bailey and Brandon Dooley are not too far behind either. All of this fighting going on for the last position in the top 10, which is currently held by that white Porsche.
As I say that, Kevin Desnoyers has just done a fastest lap, ladies and gentlemen, 145 flat. He is absolutely flying, as it indeed is going to be Mustang versus Corvette, and indeed the McLaren's getting in on the action as well. Jed Cotterman has seen an opportunity and stuck it up there on the inside, ladies and gentlemen. And let's not forget Brandon Dooley. He's been pretty potent in the only Acura in the field, ladies and gentlemen. They had a little bit of front-end damage earlier as David Grimm is struggling to keep that Corvette in check.
Yeah, looks like, I mean, honestly, this circuit, you get thrown offline at one corner and it can often define the rest of your lap. Oh, Ricky Renner's off. Oh, that's not ideal. The Aston Martin doesn't look like any damage on it, but he did have a big off in the S's, and he did actually collect the tires, caught the curb wrong, and went for a spin, and boom. Yeah, that was a pretty front-on hit, though. Doesn't actually look like it's resulted in any visual damage to the car.
As I say that, I said Brandon Dooley would be a guy to keep an eye on, and indeed he is. He's making his way upwards. It looks like it's getting a little bit darker here in Virginia, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly in Nova Scotia, it's looking a little bit dark outside. And in the other side of the world, it is indeed time travel, ladies and gentlemen. Reese Gardner is ahead of all of us. But David Grimm looking to fight back. He does not care. It's a pro versus am, and indeed he's going to apply the pressure there to the number 14 car as he's going in late on the brakes. Ladies and gentlemen, is this going to be a fantastic move? Almost gets away with it, runs a little deep there. And now Will Bailey looking to apply the pressure as well.
This is a fantastic series of fights that we've seen over the last few laps, and I mean, there's battles like this going on all the way through the field. You know, we've got the battle for second, we got the battle for sixth, the battle for ninth, and we got this battle for what is now P12 with all these guys behind. Ricky Renner coming into the pit lane. Interesting to see. I don't see a black flag to his name. Not entirely sure what the deal is there, but that's another opportunity for Ricky Renner to get on strategy for the final stint of the race. Malik Bass, meanwhile, he has been in and around the back of this field, but pace-wise should be a lot further forward. There's been an off, meanwhile, for the Mustanger, Will Bailey.
Yeah, that's definitely not what he had in mind, albeit he looked really good doing it. Thankfully, he's going to be able to get onto the back of this pack. We'll have to take a quick look and see exactly how he went off, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly a few people coming to cropper here at VIR. Whoa, slide!
Oh, okay, that slide had already begun on the exit of NASCAR Bend, and as he ran over the painted asphalt beyond the curb, that isn't a lower grip surface, so unfortunately just exacerbated the slide. That's unfortunate there for Will Bailey, but fortunately, he avoids damage, as is the case for quite a few cars here today. Plenty of big offs, but not much in the way of damage. Philip Scott then holding on to P10 and chasing down Nathan Nickerson in the 470. These two on the same strategy. They pitted under the previous caution, and they will indeed have another stop to go, I'm sure, potentially in about 10 minutes' time. The fastest lap is down once again. Kevin Desnoyers, a 144.5. He is flying at the front of the field as three cars have come into the pit lane. Joseph Yang, Thomas Guy in the Aeronaut Racing 802, and Drew Schiller in the Floppy Burb number 27. So they might have to fuel save a bit if they want to get to the end from here.
Yeah, it definitely seems a little bit ambitious there. Maybe they indeed did run the tank out a little bit, but you can see here in the sectors, Porsche versus Mustang, it seems to be pretty balanced overall. Certainly in the last sector, picking up a little bit there, a little bit quicker, but definitely it's not a landslide between them.
No, certainly not. Very close battle. So let's see what the S's bring. This sequence of S-bends is pretty much flat out on the way in a GT3 car. Oh no, that's Patrick Hamad that's gone off there in the Corn Cob TV Racing number 29. And on the recovery is Will Bailey trying to make his way past Josh Betts in the simraces.com red McLaren. Once again, flat out through these S's, but you do have to lift to make your way through this one. And a little bit of a kick out of the rear end from the number 89 Mustang. Will Bailey evidently not too comfortable at the moment.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a little bit too much temperature in the rear end of that Mustang at the minute, and certainly he's not really got an opportunity to cool it down. Actually, let's do a quick peek here at the track temperature. Ladies and gentlemen, it's definitely a little bit warm, 34 degrees, ladies and gentlemen. It's fair to say those tyres are going to be absolutely screamingly hot.
The leaders into the pits. Kevin Desnoyers is joined by Dustin Neerhoof. And so we're going to be seeing some interesting strategies come out here. And considering that it is the leader that has come in on this lap, I wonder if they might actually be able to stretch the tank out here. Maybe they're banking on another safety car to allow them to save a bit of fuel and shorten the actual lap count to the end of the race.
Well, I'm certainly going to be hoping it pays off for him. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, we have an AM class leading it. And don't get me wrong, we made some jokes earlier about Dustin Neerhoff being given an ultimatum to lead this race with a WM car. But indeed, Morgan Smith is doing it legitimately, ladies and gentlemen. But for how long? Emmett Lindquist right behind, over double the I rating, ladies and gentlemen. And then add another 23 points on top of that as well. He is making his approach in that Mustang. But looking at the best times, there really isn't a lot in it. Just 0.2 of a second between them.
Yeah, this is a very close fight indeed. For the moment, Emmett Lindquist is the faster of the two. Again, these are two cars on the exact same strategy. It looks like everyone down to Kevin Desnoyers in 17th has made that pit stop under the most recent caution. The slipstream on for Emmett Lindquist. Does he have the braking capability to find his way past Morgan Smith there? Not quite. The GT3 Mustang does tend to have some good performance in a straight line. The Aston Martin handles nicely, tends to understeer a bit, depending on who you ask. These are two of the newest cars to enter the iRacing GT3 class. On-board lap then with Emmett Lindquist as we find our way to the first turn here. Got to try and pick your braking marker. Is it going to be later than Morgan Smith's? Away we go up the inside into turn 1 at the horseshoe, but Smith is trying to keep it strong around the outside. Doesn't quite work. Little wiggle from the Aston, and that battle's going to be done. Lindquist now in the lead with no one ahead of him, Zippy. This is a fantastic track to ride on board in.
Indeed, we're coming up to one of my favorite sections, ladies and gentlemen. It actually reminds me a little bit of my home track here in Atlantic Canada, and indeed Nova Scotia of Atlantic Motorsport Park, because indeed you're going to go through the chicanes and then coming up to what I call, without a doubt, my personal favorite. Ladies and gentlemen, it's high speed. Look at that speedometer. We're doing 145, 150 miles an hour through these entries, ladies and gentlemen. Then you've got to give it a little bit of dab on the brakes, put a bit of weight there on the nose, drop it down to about 120 mile an hour as you head down towards the double apex corner of Oak Tree. Ladies and gentlemen, sadly that Oak Tree has indeed left the chat, and honestly, relievingly so in some ways. I would not want to hit the tree, always choose the field, as indeed Lindquist now on the back straight, and Morgan Smith already dropped back 0.6 of a second here, but can he stay with the number 23 car and try and potentially save some fuel and stretch out this stint?
Yeah, it looks like Morgan Smith is running times pretty consistent with his fastest at the moment. Lindquist set his own quickest lap of the race on the previous lap of a 145.4. So for the moment, he seems to be about half a second faster than Morgan Smith around this place. Well, here we go then, around Hogpen. The final corner of the lap. There is one more bend to negotiate, and that's the one right here coming up to the start-finish line, but it's not really counted as a corner, and for good reason. That's a lap around Virginia International Raceway. Again, a track that can be a bit polarizing at times, but plenty of drivers love it, and for good reason.
Well, certainly I gotta say, this has definitely been a lot of fun so far, and I'm very much enjoying it, as Joseph Yang is definitely further a little bit back now. So we're going to take a quick look at him there, as he's got Thomas Guy right ahead of him. Don't get me wrong, Yang, actually, if we have a quick look, he is one of few Canadian drivers. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 Canadian drivers in there, all spread out throughout the field, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly Yang, certainly not winning those honors, but right now applying a good amount of pressure there to the 802 car ahead.
The Aeronaut Racing team has certainly been active in this one. Ryan Merriam started the 802 from pole position, and well, it looks like they've had some problems as of recent. But having said that, don't forget that Joseph Yang had been running in the top 3 for the majority of this race. So this may be a battle for an effective podium spot, if not the win, that we're taking a look at the moment. Joseph Yang works his way past Thomas Guy and will move swiftly on to trying to set fast laps. Dustin Neerhoff is quite a few seconds up the road from them. Meanwhile, moving a bit further back here to Patrick Hamad, who's trying his best to avoid any incidents towards the end of this race. Got Josh Betts and Will Bailey up ahead of him. And, well, interesting to note that on my timing, Patrick Hamad is in the same position he started in at the moment, the only car in the field for which that is the case.
Well, it makes you feel better, Reese. I'm getting exactly the same on my end. And indeed, Josh Bett's defensive game has been absolutely on point here today at VIR. Don't get me wrong, he got caught up in an incident earlier involving that left front suspension. And indeed, that wheel was definitely not having the best of days. But right ahead of him, you can see the beautiful Mustang of Will Bailey, that number 89. It looks like we've got movement further up as well. David Grimm now going at it with Jacob Coleman for P8 overall.
And Cotterman makes the move on Grimm into the first turn. That was a nice pass. What you'd expect from that first opening corner. Is there going to be any fight back here from David Grimm? Both of these cars are up 13 positions on where they started. It's a poor run through NASCAR bend for Cotterman. Grimm going to get up the inside at left hook, but unfortunately it's hard to run side by side through the rest of that sequence, and so he has to yield. But again, the McLaren doesn't seem that strong in that section.
Yeah, these two guys are definitely battling hard. It's absolutely fantastic to see as Rich Price has got a slowdown to serve. He's currently back there in P12 overall. But right now, it's indeed McLaren versus Corvette, England versus America. As indeed, ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong, we have a lot of American drivers who support the channel, but for the automotive side, I've got to cheer for that McLaren. And side by side, they go through Oak Tree. And what a move there by David Grimm. It took a little bit for him to get warmed up to the car, but after a move like that, it's fair to say he's got to be feeling comfortable. Right behind now, Adam Novatoni is now driving the car that was shared earlier by Morgan Tegay, and is indeed currently making moves there towards Malik Bass.
Yes, so yeah, actually it looks like we're going to be seeing plenty more to come from that Mustang as we have another driver joining us here in the booth. It's Adam Novotny joining us, well, this has certainly been an interesting race thus far. Can you remind us which team you're driving for, Adam?
Sorry, my car was too loud. What was that?
Which car are you currently driving? I can't find you on the timing.
I'm in the Mustang.
There's quite a few Mustangs in this field.
11th. Sorry. Yes.
Yes. Okay, right, there we go. So things are looking good at the moment for you guys. With an hour and 10 minutes to go, that's around about what we'd expect from a fuel stint for these GT3 cars. Are you guys anticipating you have to come into the pits again?
I'm assuming yes.
All right, well, Adam, you're only very new to the car here, 11 laps into this particular stint. Your teammate put in a great drive in the initial part of the race. Are you feeling any pressure at the moment? Is there a position that you're targeting right now?
Yeah, feeling a lot of pressure. I haven't been in the sim basically at all for the past roughly year. I think I did like 20 laps getting ready for this event, so Morgan's always really fast. So really I just want to try to bring it back to the pits for him so that hopefully he can finish it up and we can maybe get a top 5.
Well, if a top 5 is indeed on the cards for you guys, that's going to be a fantastic performance. The trio battling ahead of you right there is starting to really gear things up. So a lot of gains to be made here in the short term. Well, we're going to have to let you go, Adam, because it looks like the battle is starting to really heat up. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Adam Novotny there, who's on the attack, potentially for 10th place, for maybe even 8th place if David Grimm gets involved with these two behind. This is going to be a very interesting fight here. And looks like the McLaren again having some trouble there through the opening corners.
Yeah, definitely looked like it had a little bit of a traction or more of a lack of traction there as he made his way through the exit. Malik Bass able to put the hammers down, but the whole time Adam Novotny is closing in on this pack. It's going to be a 4-way fight very soon, and all of this is going on. This is a battle for the top 10, ladies and gentlemen, as David Grimm is holding up the front of this pack, and he's doing an absolutely fantastic job. Up 14 spots from the start, himself and his teammate, and they're currently in P4 in the AM class as well, and now pulling away from Malik Bass as well.
Yeah, it looks like David Grimm has found his groove. Meanwhile, Patrick Hamard has caught up to Will Bailey. And we're seeing plenty of slipstreaming going on in this fight. He's going to be waiting for Madison Avenue to really make the move, unless we see the Mustang run wide here out of Oak Tree. It's a good exit from both cars and slightly more punch out of the corner from Will Bailey, but the slipstream kicks in right about now. And Patrick Hamad could be looking at lucky 13th.
Yeah, he's definitely fighting hard, indeed, having a good races. Indeed, he's going to go side by side, making the way down Madison Avenue. Ladies and gentlemen, we've seen Patrick Hamad have a couple of incidents, but so far, it's not going to happen for him on this occasion. He just needs to make the corner. He's done it, and indeed, can he hold on? Boy, he's going to run deep there, but has got the move done on Will Bailey, and he's made his way up to P13 overall.
Very good pass indeed. The BMW now finding its way forward again. So it's going to conclude that fight for the moment, unless there's some kind of fight back here from Will Bailey. Of course, the Mustang is plenty slippery in a straight line as well. Move it back through to Matt Gauthier, who currently holds on to P3. But worth pointing out that all of these cars may have to pit once more in this race. Currently, the best placed on strategy is the car in P12 at the moment with Kevin Denoyer at the wheel. We're going to be seeing a bit more from him soon, I'm sure. But Matt Gauthier for the moment is consumed by Nathan Nickerson behind him and Philip Scott not too far behind in the other Mustang.
Yeah, I got a feeling we're going to see a three-way fight here. And don't get me wrong, Matt Gauthier is currently battling for P3 overall and indeed P2 in the Pro Class. Ladies and gentlemen, he's about 8 seconds behind, 9 seconds behind the race leader of Emmett Lindquist, who's currently up there in the number 23 car, that Ford Mustang as well. I wouldn't see the Mustang being a very popular choice here, but I've got to say, certainly we compare to some other series, the McLaren often and the Corvette often not the popular choices, almost been spec Porsche in some series, but I've got to say, what an absolutely fantastic turnout here for the huge variety of GT3 cars in the field.
Yes, we're not seeing every single car in the GT3 class making an appearance here today, but enough of them to get some great variety in this field. And, well, we're seeing their advantages and disadvantages on full display. Balance of performance looks pretty close, has to be said, but it looks like the Mustangs and the Aston Martins are really the cars to have at the moment. They seem to be dealing with the track a little better than the other machines out there. While looks like, oh, David Grimm jumping into the pits as that's a bit of a tap from the rear. Nathan Nickerson trying his best to unsettle Matt Gauthier, but not working in the short term. David Grimm, as I mentioned, bringing the car into the pits, and that is the first car that I am 100% sure is going to make it to the end of the race. With 1 hour and 5 minutes on the clock, he made his way in. And so now the Vortex Sim team, all they have to do is bring it home nice and clean, doing fast laps all the while. Rich Hibbs, back in 15th place, has got to his fellow Rich Price in the Ferrari ahead.
Well, hopefully it's going to be a absolutely rich scenario involving this race. Certainly if it goes poorly, yeah, I know that was a terrible pun. Ladies and gentlemen, please hit the like and subscribe button. Indeed, for Reese Gardner, not just for myself, because certainly he is the master commentator. I actually had the pleasure of watching him do a what's called Max Bantz. Whatever that is, I don't know, but I don't know if you knew, Reese, but I was cheering you on in the stream, and I got to be honest, the biggest cluster of a race I've ever seen. The goal was to finish in 24th place, and the only thing I could possibly compare it to of iRacing being used, not how iRacing was intended, was when he used to do 4 Drink Fridays, and indeed the guys would have to drink 4 pints, but they couldn't be moving when they drank them. So that made it for a very interesting race, because come the start, only half the grid would move because the rest of them would be downing a pint. Some were down all 4 in one hit, rather than me. Others were down 1, and if they span out, they just stop wherever they landed and have a drink. Mixed feelings about that. I certainly do not advise you drink and drive, but from a broadcast point of view, if you like to play a drinking game with your buddies, by all means, give us a shout. We'd love to broadcast it.
Yeah, indeed. I had the pleasure of commentating a couple of 4 Drink Fridays when they were broadcast on GSRC, but it's a really fun time seeing iRacing used for stuff that you don't necessarily expect it to be used for, and that was the point of Max Bantz, really, in the first place, to try and just push iRacing to its limits. And we're very fortunate to have gotten some semi-official support from iRacing as well. Cisco Scaramuzza, who works for them, has gotten on board and is now handling production for Max Vance. But anyway, enough about our other exploits. Back to the race at hand here. iRaceControl end of year endurance, and Rich Hibbs, the man behind iRaceControl, or one of the two men behind iRaceControl, currently still trying to fight his way up to P3. We've had another couple of pit stops in the meantime. David Grimm, of course, making his way into the pits, and there was another car I noticed. Road Sport Performance, Taylor Mahan, has taken over the number 97 and is now out there in P20. Effective position, I have no idea. Oh, there's a pit stop from the front of the field. Meanwhile, Morgan Smith has brought the WBM Aston Martin into the lane. And this could turn things interesting for him. Certainly interesting for Rich and Rich. Event Matrix Ferrari versus Rel Motorsports McLaren, and Rich Hibbs gets up the inside in a very brave move at roller coaster.
It was definitely a beautiful move. That was the stuff there that the promotional videos are made of. Certainly, Rich, make sure you save, or indeed Rich Hibbs, make sure you save that replay. I don't know if Rich Price is going to have the same kind of sentiment to it, indeed, as the pit lane is absolutely flooded with people. Morgan Smith there getting some tyres. Adam Nothney, he's in the pits as well. Himself and his teammate doing very well. Nathan Nickerson, he's in there, as indeed both of the Coleman brothers as well. As you see, Joel Betts making his way by, and indeed Joseph Yang. Now, he was one of the earlier pits, ladies and gentlemen, has now managed to recover his way back up to P14, down 11 from where he started. But right now, we're having a quick look here, as it looks like Richard Price has not got the battle over yet, as Christian Gone is applying the pressure, earlier driven by, I believe it was Chris Springer.
Yes, indeed. That 139, another one of our two-driver teams. There are some drivers who are soloing this race, bless their hearts. It's a very difficult job to be racing for 3 hours straight. I gotta wonder. There's fatigue is certainly going to be a factor, because you know, it's one thing to share a race with a driver, and I reckon doing 3 hours solo, I mean, I could do it in the past. I don't think I'd be able to do it now that I'm nearing 31 years of age.
Ladies and gentlemen, Reese's athletic performance obviously closing off at 30, and I've got to be honest, I can relate. I'm 35 going on 50. Or indeed 47, whatever I may feel at that particular time. But ladies and gentlemen, race leader Emmett Lindquist brings it down pit road, as does Philip Scott and indeed Brandon Dooley there. And it looks like Malik Bass is going to be the next car to cross over the line as he brings it down the pit lane. Ladies and gentlemen, this may surprise some of you, this may surprise none of you. Kevin Desnoyers is going to be our new race leader.
10 laps into his stint, and still setting some solid times. A 145.6, that's about a second off what he could initially manage, but we're going to be seeing a bit more from this Aston Martin, I'm sure. A big flurry of cars coming into the pits. We have the number 23, the 14, the 99, the 551. There's, well, I'm counting round about 7 cars that have just made their way through the pits there.
Yeah, but what I do find interesting, though, it looks like Morgan Smith is back in the pits, ladies and gentlemen. He only just pit.
Oh, okay. And he's disconnected.
Oh.
What? What?
What are you doing, man?
Why? What happened?
Well, definitely things that we need explanations for, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, welcome back to Jake Enns, ladies and gentlemen. And less than 31, well, those were the days. I can definitely relate to that. But indeed, let's take a look here with Malik Bass, who's now completely applying pressures here to Taylor Mahon, who is indeed rocking that Canadian flag as well.
Indeed he is. This is quite the nice fight here for what is now P10, and Taylor has come out in the middle of 2 cars that have just made their way out of the pit lane. Brandon Dooley up ahead, and oh dear, hello, Malik Bass, meanwhile, has got Jed Cotterman for company, and Jed making the move coming into the S's. Doesn't always work out, but evidently a lot of trust put in the driver he was trying to pass, and he is through once again, fresh out of the pits himself.
Well, I have a feeling there that Malik was going for the what my iRacing mentor taught me, and Reece, you must have heard this no end of times by now, and indeed anybody who's a Pit Road Productions regular, but my iRacing mentor back in the day when I was just a noob, or indeed acknowledge the fact that I was a noob was Mr. CR Reed. Don't get me wrong, back in that time, like, he was rocking like mid to low 2000 IR, and I thought he was the next thing close to an iRacing god, ladies and gentlemen. How humble I was, but he did indeed teach me some lessons. Patience was at one point one of them. Certainly it needs to be redeveloped over the years, and indeed I do not race as much as I once did, but the biggest thing he ever taught me was indeed low risk, high reward, and I have a feeling that's exactly what the driver of the 191 was doing there. He saw that Cotterman was indeed applying the pressure and just said, you know what, this isn't my race right now. He's in a different class. I'm in Pro, he's in AM, and realistically Cotterman is P2 in AM class right now. You got to wonder, just, you know, how hard is this guy going to fight? Is he maybe looking to try and save some fuel behind the driver of the number 7 instead?
Yeah, that is the question. That's something that I've been thinking about, because, yeah, I don't know. I think, honestly, at this point, everyone who pits from here on out should be able to make it to the end. I don't know if fuel saving is going to be much of a concern for drivers at the moment. Maybe those that pitted more than, say, 5 laps ago. Oh, dearing me. That is Emmett Lindquist that has gone off there on the run up to an oak tree, and Nathan Nickerson says, thank you very much, mate, I will take that.
Yeah, well, certainly right now, Nathan Nickerson is indeed leading the AM class, ladies and gentlemen. He's P5 overall, up in 19 positions from where he started there in that 470 Porsche 911 GT3 car. Absolutely beautiful, and I believe they got some little bit of heat from the stewards earlier on as well. It might be the 470, maybe the 420, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, I tell you what, we haven't checked in as well with iRaceControl, but we're going to leave that on hold for a minute as David Grimm has had enough. Ladies and gentlemen, what happened to that call there?
Oh no, such a strong performance that David Grimm was putting on here, and unfortunately some oversteer at the exit of the S's has put that run to an end. Fortunately, he has kept it out of the tyre bundles, so that's good to see, but a lot of position lost there for David Grimm. And we'll keep our eyes on this battle here just inside the top 20. David Grimm finds himself in 19th ahead of Rich Price. Got plenty more to come here. Rich Hibbs comes in for his final stop of the race, and looks like a pretty normal looking stop as far as he is concerned. He'll come back out in 14th place as Ricky Renner just made his way past. Now 15th as Patrick Lamard makes his move.
Well, right now it looks like Emmett Lindquist is trying to find his way back up to P4 overall, and indeed Nathan Nickerson, just how hard does he want to fight? Joseph Yang is about another 6 seconds up the road from these guys, and you have to wonder as well, what is the strategic play here? Do you have enough fuel to finish the race? You still have an hour to go. We're just in the early stages of this. Ladies and gentlemen, I may have underestimated the timing here, as currently we've been absolutely rocking this show. We've been live for 2.5 hours. Rich, I'm sorry, buddy. Something's gone wrong somewhere. How on earth is this race extended so far? But indeed, Lindquist now applying pressure side by side with Nickerson.
Absolutely. Well, the race timer will be ticking down to the last hour here, and Emmett Lindquist, excuse me, has plenty of extra pace to deploy here, but I think it's a question of how consistently you deploy it, because we do see like a lot of mistakes happening here in this late stage of the race, and VIR does tend to be a track that separates those consistent drivers from the less consistent ones. I think this is a real test of not just endurance, but also consistency.
Yeah, certainly, and indeed, if you to look at the lap times, you have to wonder just how consistent you can be. But right now, let's check in here with Richard Hibbs. He's come back out of the field. Actually, hold that thought, though. Let's see what's going on with Will Bailey here, as he's now applying pressure to the backwards of Rich Price there, who gets a little bit wider there on exit, and it looks like an opportunity here for Will Bailey. He's going to get a slipstream going down the start-finish straight. I'm going to see a move being happening into turn 1, as indeed it is Ferrari versus Ford, ladies and gentlemen. You've seen it with, what's his name? I can't remember the actor's name. Oh, what was his name?
There we go. Matt Damon and Christian Bale.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. Indeed, Matt Damon, ladies and gentlemen, a legend to the screen. Indeed, I actually got a lesson the other day. Mark Wahlberg used to be a rapper. Never knew this.
Yeah, he was Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
Yep, I had no idea. I was indeed educated. As that Mustang starts doing a little bit of a funky bunch there over the curbs, gets a little bit loose, but thankfully able to keep it in control. Further up the field, though, David Grimm looking to try and make a recovery, but it looks like Rich Hibbs now has very much got Morgan Tegay applying a good amount of pressure behind. You can see Patrick Hamada right ahead of him, but Morgan really battling it on.
Yeah, certainly is. We'll have to see if there's a funky crunch on the rear of a car at some point here. It's 11:30 here in Perth, and soon I'll be on my way to a funky lunch as we are joined once again by two drivers this time. Morgan Tegay and Rich Hibbs currently with us here. Morgan, you've been watching on as your teammate has taken over the car, and you must be biting your nails at least a little bit looking at this fight.
Just a little bit, but we'll see how it shakes out. Teammate had to jump out of the car due to some technical issues, so he was concerned that he might bin it. So back in the car now, and we'll see what we'll end up. You know, the challenge we have to deal with is our pit stops have been about 10 seconds longer each for the driver swap, so that's a bit of a hurdle to overcome to make up track position here.
Yeah, of course, iRacing has a flat 30-second timer for driver changes. Interesting to note that we have the two of you battling and the two of you both in here. We'll check in with you, Rich, as we're continuing to fight our way through these S's. Patrick Hamad up ahead of the two of you, so you could potentially be making this a three-way fight shortly.
Yeah, it's a little dicey right now. I'm a couple laps later on fuel, so I'm a little heavier than the cars around me.
Well, regardless, still keeping up some good pace, and looks like the both of you will be on course now to be finishing the race without having to make another stop. So you guys will continue battling it out here. We'll leave you to it and see how the slipstream works out at the end of the straight.
Thank you.
Morgan Tegay and Rich Hibbs battling on track and together in the commentary box here, as we'll find our way to roller coaster. Once again, fantastic fighting, and it's been really good to talk to some of the drivers over the course of this race. It's really been fantastic.
Oh, it absolutely has. I've got to say, Reese Gardner, I'm actually a little bit disappointed in you. I'm all about creating a little bit of rivalry there, and you were very, very friendly, sir. Certainly, I would love to see a little bit of a grudge match here, but these drivers, both professional, both very level-headed, I've got to say, and both sound like they're not even breaking a sweat. Certainly, Rich Hibbs under a little bit more pressure here with the driver, the number 16, absolutely piling on that Mustang in the rearview mirror. Actually, let's get a quick look here from the back end of that McLaren.
Yes, good view, and it allows us to look a bit further at that Rust Belt Racing Mustang, which is one of the most striking liveries out there. And, well, for the moment, it's looking like Morgan has a bit more pace than Rich in the slower sections of this track. Rich, though, is benefiting from the slipstream of Patrick Hamad up ahead, and in fact, he's caught up to him a little more. So I think we can officially call this a three-car battle now.
I am inclined to agree, sir, and I do think there's a little bit of damage to the right front of that 29 BMW, just on the right front corner, but don't quote me on it. I'm not 100% sure, but right now, Rich Hibbs applying the pressure. He's going to be the McLaren in the middle of this BMW Mustang sandwich, and I have a feeling we may see a freeway fight at the end of Madison Avenue.
One more pit stop for Dustin Neerhoof, and that's quite interesting to see. 16 laps to the stint. He'll pit from second place as now the battle closes up here for 12th. Patrick Hamad under more pressure from Rich Hibbs, and Morgan Tegay has found his way back to the rear bumper of the McLaren. How are they going to work this out? On the way down to turn one is the big question. Big acceleration. When you can nail the power out of Hogpen, it's one of the best feelings in the world, because you know that you're taking all of that momentum onto the start-finish straight here. There's Dustin Neerhoof coming out of the pits just as these guys make their way towards the braking zone, and Rich Hibbs gets up the inside. Also late on the brakes is Morgan Tegay, as Patrick Hamad has to run wide to let them both through, and now Tegay sees an opportunity to move past Hibbs here, round the outside at NASCAR bend, question mark, is it gonna work? Not quite,
slide.
he goes off the track, oh that's big, and now Hamad gets back up the inside, but Morgan Tegay will hold on to the position.
I gotta admit, I thought that was gonna end in tears, and certainly good job, good recovery there from Morgan Hamad, and indeed, Morgan Tegay, and indeed, fair play to Patrick Hamad there for being able to keep that car out of the way. But let's take a look at the right front corner, as I do believe it has indeed picked up some damage.
Yeah, I think he picked that up some time ago. I think he's been running with that for a number of laps now. Actually, hang on a minute. Okay, so I don't know if there is a fuel cap, but it would appear that the drivers aren't making that full fuel tank stint. It would appear that Kevin Desnoyers has jumped back into pit lane. So evidently about 16, 17 laps is the most that they can make on a full tank here.
Oh, I am very much all for it. We need more of these 3-hour endurance, and certainly on Pit Road Productions, it would definitely be a good mix-up, and certainly I would love to see it. Generally speaking, we tend to go, we prefer like a weekly series, but you know what, a 3-hour endurance event on a Sunday, I'm here for it, because certainly the biggest thing as well is we can bring the drivers from all the other leagues who just fancy some random one-off on a Sunday night, and indeed we've done that. We've got some of the WN guys with us. Thank you very much for coming out, and look at the absolute eclectic field we've got. I mean, don't worry, we started with 28 drivers. I want to see this with 50, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed some more choice tracks as Ricky Renner comes down pit road.
Indeed he does, and this is going to be, I think, a raft of pit stops that we're going to be seeing here in the short term. As that's a bit of a slide there for Rich Hibbs. He manages to keep it on the track, but wide through the left hook. And look at the move there, side by side again. Oh, they bump wheels. Hibbs is sent off. And they just managed to make it out of that complex. Neither of them getting a slowdown by some miracle. Morgan Tegay is through.
Well, I thought that was going to end a lot worse, but fair play. These two guys are definitely the touching cloth, and albeit the cloth on the brown flag, ladies and gentlemen. That could have been absolutely chaotic, as we see here Morgan Smith there saying, I'm going to have to pass on the yellow flag system, but thanks for having me tonight, y'all. Again, Morgan, we're kind of wondering why on earth you went and retired. You were absolutely dominating in the AM class, buddy, but by all means, it's definitely, it takes a bit of getting used to here, and indeed, race strategy will take some adoption. But let's take a look here with Joseph Yang, who's given the old razzle-dazzle to throw Rob Campbell to the back of David Groom.
Yes, indeed. Here is another potential position change here. Joseph Yang, fresh out of the pits himself. I believe he's just made his final stop, but David Grimm's going to complicate things a little bit. Some contact into roller coaster, and Yang has to take a tour through the grass. Going to be a big slowdown to serve there, and he'll have to give up the position to Will Bailey, who is 7-8 laps into his stint. And that's a disaster for the car that was in contention for a podium position there. Yang's going to be coming straight back into pit lane.
Yeah, this could be a good strategy, actually. Certainly, we've seen it before where sometimes people have got to serve a slowdown or something along those lines, and they'll just bring it in the pits. It's absolutely fantastic there as Chris Goen makes his way past Joseph Yang. Definitely not the race result he's looking for, but right now, it looks like the closest battle we've got is indeed back here with Rich Hibbs and indeed Patrick Hamad with about half a second apart.
All right, well, now looks like we're seeing the true pace from Morgan Tegay there. And we'll see the battle fall between Rich Hibbs and Patrick Hamad. Meanwhile, checking back in with Dustin Neerhoof. You switched to him because I believe he got a slowdown coming out of the S's? Yes.
Yeah, definitely not what he had in mind there. Able to get that server right behind him is indeed David Grimm and indeed Will Bailey there about 3 seconds back. Well, let's check back in here with Rich Hibbs, who, as he said, Morgan has managed to run away a little bit, but Patrick Hamad has been applying the pressure in that BMW. But I'm saying that, hold that thought, ladies and gentlemen. We got a battle up here for P3, ladies and gentlemen, as Kevin Desnoyers makes his way back to the final step of the podium.
Yes, so potentially last pit stop of the race there for Kevin Desnoyers. So we'll see. I'm still not 100% on the fuel cap situation, whether or not it even exists. But regardless, we are seeing plenty of fantastic driving from the cars at the front of the field and working the strategy out nicely. Currently in contention for the victory is Kevin Desnoyers' fastest car on the circuit once again. He's been one of the prime movers in this race, and that's really saying something considering he started so far back.
Oh, absolutely. Certainly, there's been a lot of hard charges through the field. Like Emmett Lindquist right now is leading the race. He's currently up 25 positions. Nathan Nixon and Kevin Desnoyers both up 22. It's absolutely fantastic stuff. But you know what we haven't done for a little while, Reese? Let's take a quick peek here at the iRaceControl live stream.
Indeed. Of course, iRaceControl making its broadcast debut here. And a very nice system that allows officiators to officiate more efficiently. Of course, $5 US a month or $50 US for a full year. It's an excellent value subscription. If you're a league owner and you want to streamline your race control operations, make sure to check out iRaceControl. This is what you'll see when you're running the program. And I got to say, the readouts that you get from this program are fantastic. You've got all of the usual stuff that you see in the default iRacing UI, but a couple of little extras as well with some extra commands up the top as well.
Oh, absolutely fantastic stuff there. Good to be able to tune in. And honestly, the first time we've ever tuned into a stream of a stream, ladies and gentlemen. Fair play, that is definitely a new one here for us, but absolutely fantastic stuff. And honestly, I can't believe the value. $5 US a month and you get all that software, ladies and gentlemen. That is fantastic from a league organizer's point of view. Certainly, I'd love to see it in more. And indeed, we will indeed see it in the Podium 1 series that is coming back at the start of next year.
Yeah, for sure. Can't wait to see that come about. And, well, Matt Gauthier is... Oh, my God!
That was close.
Oh, God, I need a moment after that. Jeez, that was a massive pucker moment. Rich Hibbs nearly getting rear-ended, but fortunately, Hamad manages to stay back. We're going to be seeing a move here from Denoyer once again, with Nathan Nickerson ahead of him. And Nickerson will not be far away from his final pit stop. Speaking of pit stops, we've been reliably informed from Matt Gauthier that there is a 50% fuel cap. I do apologize for my errors earlier on the race. I wasn't aware that there was a fuel cap. But that basically means that stints are halved from what they usually are. So about 35 minutes to a stint. That means, to flip the script again, in about 5 minutes' time, we're going to be seeing the window for the final stop open.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm starting to think as well, it's been a little while since we had a full course yellow, ladies and gentlemen. And honestly, the biggest thing I like about iRaceControl is the fact that it is an independent software. Too often we've seen league administrators who have the ability to fill a full course caution, and it's been a little bit of an unfair advantage. But right now, Rich Hibbs is definitely oh dear, something's happened with Ricky Renner.
Oh dear. Well, let's see then. This car was running consistently up the front of the field early on. Ricky, unfortunately, losing the rear under brakes into Oak Tree. And, okay, some avoiding action having to be taken by, I think that's one of the Sim Racers McLarens there. Oak Tree is a place where I'm not surprised that happens a lot. It's a corner where you've got to really trail the brakes in, and you're braking from quite a high speed too, having to deal with elevation change. So, yeah, not surprising to see the rear end go there. Brake bias maybe a little too far back for that. Morgan Tigay, meanwhile, his next target is Jacob Cotterman in the number 48 McLaren. It's good to see those Cotterman cars still out there and both in the top 10. It's been some great charges from Jed and Jacob.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff, and indeed it's good that I believe they're brothers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just guessing. It could be indeed father and son. It could be cousins. I'm not sure, but indeed we got a couple of battles happening here right now, because you can see this battle at the foreground, ladies and gentlemen, is between Jacob Cotterman and Morgan Tiggy, but right behind him you got Rich Hibbs and Patrick Hamad going at it as well. Further up through the field, though, Brandon Dooley has made his way past Philip Scott for P4 overall.
Good job from Brandon Dooley, whose own driver notes say that he always tries to bring the car home in one piece. And as far as I'm aware, all the pieces are remaining on Brandon Dooley's Acura. Looks like a poor run out of Oak Tree for Philip Scott, and it was a pretty easy move in the end for Brandon.
Yeah, it's good to see you got the front of that Acura repaired as well. That may have been having a little bit of an impact there on his fuel. But Jacob Cotterman, he's 1,000 IR, and don't get me wrong, that isn't stopping him right now. 5,132 right behind him, and he is holding this guy up. Looks like a rather young driver, ladies and gentlemen, but Cotterman iRacing team is definitely potent indeed in the McLaren, as Morgan Tigay is looking to try and apply the pressure, as indeed Rich Hibbs is doing exactly the same right behind Patrick Hamad, looking to try and make his way forward up to P11.
Yeah, Rich Hibbs still on the defense here from Patrick Hamad. And this BMW has certainly got the pace to keep up. But all it takes is a poor exit, and he's going to lose that slipstream advantage. Comparing lap times, it would appear that Tegay and Cotterman up ahead, 146.5s on the previous lap. These two we're looking at now, they were about 2-3 tenths faster than the both of them ahead. So it's looking like in a couple of laps, this might turn into something extra. But we're only about 90 seconds away from the pit window opening for the final stop of the night. So the question is, do these guys decide to jump in early and fill the car up as much as they can for the final stint, or do they run the tank out for the next 4 to 7 laps, depending on where they are in the stint, and have a slightly lighter car on average to the end?
Well, we do know that Rich Hibbs was looking to try and pit away from everybody else, ladies and gentlemen, so certainly you have to wonder what's going to be his strategy. If Patrick Hamad follows him in, don't get me wrong, it could be interesting, but one of the clips I am thinking of is when I saw literally somebody passing on pit entrance. I've done it before myself, but I've actually come to think of it, I think, was it Joshua Wilford who pulled that off at the end of Podium 1? And certainly it was an absolutely phenomenal move we saw in the closing stages of that championship.
Yeah, Wilford was there. He was around that incident. It was actually Miguel Colon who made that pass on a lapped car into pit lane. And fortunately, the pit entry at Indianapolis Motor Speedway is quite wide, so he was able to do that. Not quite the case at VIR. Quite a narrow pit lane at this very old school circuit.
As you say that, we got another battle emerging, and this time it is indeed going to be Porsche versus Porsche, as Ryan Merriam, he started way up at the top, ladies and gentlemen. He's currently trying to find his way back past Christian Gone, who's driving that 139 car with Chris Springer.
Very nice battle that these two are having for the moment. And Ryan Merriam will certainly be a little frustrated, I think, at how the race has ended up going for the Aeronaut 802. Remember, they started this race from the front, and they've been mired back in the pack for quite some time, struggling to move any further into the top 15. Another full course yellow, though, would likely bring them back into contention, considering the timing now. We have officially entered the final 35 minutes of the race, and so that's pretty much bang on one stint with this 50% fuel cap.
As you say that, Kevin Desnoyers is just on the fastest lap of the race with a 144.38, ladies and gentlemen. He is indeed flying, but he's going to have to do a little bit more work if he wants to catch up to the back of race leader Emmett Lindquist. About 4.4 seconds in that gap right now. But I say that this battle between the two Porsches is getting even tighter, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed Ryan Merriam is pretty much on the bumper as he gets the slipstream and gets that move done.
Very nicely done. And not much of a response from Christian Gone, but late on in a race like this, I think he's just aware that that car started on pole, and he'll just have to consolidate his own position from here. Joseph Yang, last time we checked in on him, he was running through the grass right there at this location. Finds himself back in 19th, and well, pitting 6 laps ago now. it will be interesting to see what he can do to move himself forward. He's fighting with Ricky Renner in the simracers.com Aston Martin. Both of these cars were much, much higher up the field earlier on. They were contenders for the lead, for the podium, for the top 5, and they find themselves so far away now.
Yeah, definitely it's not what he had in mind, ladies and gentlemen, but indeed he's trying to make a recovery. But Ricky Renner there had a little bit of a spin earlier on, able to get it gathered back up together. But right now, both of these drivers very much out of contention as it stands, but we're going to have to see how it develops here with pit strategy. But further up, though, it looks like Jacob Cotterman now is going to be under attack from Rich Hibbs and indeed Patrick Hamad applying pressure as well. Three-way fight for P number 9.
And Jacob Cotterman, the hardest charger of the lot, 12 positions gained for him. Not the most positions gained in the entire field, but in this specific pack. So out of hog pen, this is where we're going to start seeing some moves to pit lane. It looks like Cotterman's going to go for it. Morgan Tege is already in the pit lane up ahead, and it would appear that Nathan Nickerson and Jed Cotterman are back in there as well. Ryan Merriam with more company as he's come up very quickly on Taylor Mahan there. Mahan fresh out of the pits himself. Only just coming up to the end of his first lap, and there's a bit of avoiding action having to be taken there through Hogben. Does Ryan Merriam get out of the slipstream and go for the pits? He does not. So he's going to lose a little bit more time here behind this Mustang that's still getting up to speed.
Yeah, Taylor is definitely not hanging back, and don't get me wrong, himself and Miriam are pretty evenly matched. Not even 100 I rating between the two of them, so certainly going to be an interesting battle indeed. Further behind, Christian Gone, all he can do is watch at this point. You see a little bit of a jet of smoke there from the back of that Mustang, and it looks like Miriam is very keen. He's very potent. Look at throw that Porsche in. Now, we know it is extremely potent on the brakes, but is it going to be enough for the straight line speed of that number 97 Mustang?
Yeah, the Porsche GT3 over the last... Oh, God, that's a bit of grass, and he is going to lose touch with him, unfortunately. The Porsche 911 over the last few seasons has been the car that's the most down on straight line speed compared to the other GT3 machines. And that's only really a problem on the back straight. Everywhere else around the circuit, it seems to be quite competitive. But ultimately, the grass claims all, doesn't it?
Oh, it definitely does, but indeed it has not been a victim, but certainly these guys are a little bit further back on the physical track, ladies and gentlemen. Ricky Renner still putting in an incredible defense. Yang has not managed to find his way forward, but don't get me wrong, Renner no slouch either. 4 points short of 4,000 I rating. He definitely knows his way around a race car, and indeed that Aston Martin has put up an incredible defensive game, able to get through Oak Tree cleanly this time, but can the AMG, the Sledgehammer, the Bulldozer, the all-out racing machine find its way past the Aston Martin as he gets a fantastic slipstream going down Madison Avenue?
Excellent job. Good slipstream, good momentum, but it's defensive for the Aston. Oh, actually lets him go. So evidently, Joseph Yang, in Ricky Renner's mind, seems a bit better placed to drag him along towards the end of the race. There will be plenty more chances for moves, as coming out of the pits just there is Malik Bass, who's just completed the WBM Blues final pit stop. And that will be race to the end for him. The car's ahead of him, though. Not Taylor Mahan, who is going to make it to the end from here, but there's question marks over Rich Price and Ryan Merriam. They are 16 and 11 laps into their stint, respectively. I'd expect Rich Price to come in at the end of this lap, if not the next one. And another few laps from there, we'll see Ryan Merriam jump in for a splash and dash.
Yeah, certainly we've got a few different graphics up there. The pit stop, so it looks like Kevin does, oh my gosh. Kevin Desnoyers has only done 4 stops. He's lacking a little bit there in comparison to some of his competition there, as Emmett Lindquist has done 6, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed it has pit again. Emmett Lindquist obviously got a reservation in pit lane as he brings it down pit road, but right now Rich Price and indeed Taylor Mahan are absolutely battling here for P8 overall.
Yeah, and it looks like a really good slipstream for Taylor, who took that car over from Matt Gauthier earlier. And the slipstream of the Mustang on the Ferrari looking incredibly powerful. The Porsche right behind them as well. Ryan Merriam in the midst of this fight now as he closes up a bit more to the 97 Mustang. We have Brandon Dooley, Philip Scott, Richard Hibbs and Patrick Hamard all in the pits on this lap, and we'll wait and see if any of these cars from this pack come into the lane. Looks like we're going to see the Ferrari come in of Richard Price, but interestingly, Ryan Merriam going to be carrying on a bit longer here. He's still got a few laps left on the fuel tank, but end of the stint for sure for Rich Price.
As you say that, it looks like Morgan Tegay has made another pass on one of the Cottermans, and indeed Jed Cotterman on this occasion. You have got to wonder, is this a father? Is this a son? Is it indeed a brother? You got to wonder indeed. Certainly, I'm going to say it's a father and son team. Looking at the pictures, ladies and gentlemen, Jed Cotterman, and then if I compare there to Jacob Cotterman, I have a feeling this is a father and son racing team. Certainly Jacob looking a little bit younger than his counterpart.
Yes, indeed. I'm definitely getting dad vibes from Jed's photo there. So very nice to see families racing together. I've seen quite a few of them over the years, and it's always nice to see. Well, Ricky Renner now looks like he'll be taking the position back off Joseph Yang as, there we go. Yellow flag back out. I think everyone who hasn't come into the pits yet will 100% be coming in now.
Yeah, and I have to find it very interesting that Yang was definitely lifting off. He wanted Ricky Renner ahead, but if you've literally just pit, oh my gosh, is that unfortunate for you. The yellow flag has indeed come out to play, and I have a feeling it was an incident point limit related one. As we saw Malik Bass going off track, that may have been enough just to trigger the next threshold.
Yeah, it's an oak tree. Not the first time we've seen Malik run deep there, unfortunately. I actually think it's probably the best thing possible for drivers to have just pitted, because they're going to have people ahead of them who haven't pitted yet. And it'll bring them a little bit closer to the drivers ahead of them who already pitted with them. Drivers that will still owe us a pit stop, Kevin Desnoyers up the front. So actually, that's going to be disastrous for him. He's going to have to come in once the field is all bunched up, and he's going to lose quite a few positions out of this. Same will be true for Dustin Neerhoof, I'm sure, who's 12 laps into his stint. Ryan Merriam in the Aeronaut Racing car in P7. He'll have to pit. Ricky Renner and Joseph Yang will have to come back in as well. And last couple of cars further down the field, the Floppy Burb Racing number 27 with Drew Schiller at the wheel, and then a lap down, Todd Schwartz and Landon Norris, who are 10 and 11 laps into their stint respectively. Those are the cars I'm expecting to come into the pits in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, actually, Todd Schwartz and Landon Norris, despite the fact they're a lap down, still very much battling just about 7/10 of a second between them. Certainly, Landon Norris not had the best of luck there with connection. But we're going to have to find out exactly where this pace car is to see if these guys are starting to get stacked up. As indeed, Kevin Desnoyers has indeed caught the pace car, and right behind him, that is not Emmett Lindquist. That's one of the McLarens, ladies and gentlemen. That's one of the Cotterman family.
Yeah,
it's
so
Jacob
it
Cotterman.
looks like... Jacob Cotterman and David Grimm in 16th and 17th. So I think Desnoyers has lapped the both of them. He has indeed. In fact, they are the first cars a lap down. So this is going to result in an interesting situation. I think they're going to be they're going to be waved around, aren't they?
I believe so. I was literally having the same thought process in my mind. But indeed, while this goes on, let's take a quick look here at the iRaceControl live stream.
Indeed, this is what it looks like under caution. And, of course, what we're seeing at the moment in this race is when the system is automated, a mechanical black flag or a predefined number of incidents will automatically trigger a full course yellow. Of course, I'm sure that iRaceControl allows you to throw cautions manually as well. So a very nice suite of operations available for managing a race like this. And also the incident and events readout in the bottom left corner as well. There's plenty of information available for you to work from. So we'll see what more we can find from the drivers in this field. And, well, honestly, it's been a real pleasure, I think. With about 20 minutes to go, I can say it's been a pleasure to be a part of this event, and for the guys at iRaceControl to bring us on for this, because it's been great to help bring this new product to the world.
Oh, absolutely, indeed. Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're thinking about getting this for your league, it only costs $5 USD a month. That is peanuts in the grand scheme of things. But in the meantime, Reese, I don't know about yourself, but I'm going to step away very briefly here. And while a lot of these drivers are adding fuel, I have a feeling I'm going to get rid of a little bit of mine and indeed resupply my my liquid refreshments here as we get ready for another pace car lap.
Yes, and no surprise to see that Kevin Desnoyers is coming in, and interesting to note, most of the drivers behind him as well. The Cotterman car is going to be staying out, though, because they are well aware that they're going to be getting a wave around, and I believe they'll be able to make it to the end. As Zippy goes and refuels himself, it's going to be just me here for the moment, talking to you all. And the pace car lights are out, the wave around is done, and once again, the wave arounds are handled automatically by iRaceControl as well. You know, I remember when I was competing in an endurance league some years back, they had live race control, and they were manually doing wave arounds, and it was a multi-class race. So we had the HPD LMP2, we had the GT3s as well, and a couple other classes, which meant that wave arounds were very complicated to do, because the question becomes like, are you waving around relative to the class leader, the overall race leader, and depending on where cars were at the point that caution was thrown, it can really complicate things. Well, iRaceControl automates that whole process and allows the top cars a lap down to run back around. There's no need for race control to rack their brains trying to sort out who exactly needs to wave around. You're not wasting time typing commands into the chat either. That is a massive boon. Even just right-clicking in the UI can take a valuable fraction of a second that you could be using to complete another task. So yet another thing that iRaceControl helps you out with. So make sure to check them out as more wave arounds happen here. Lights off on the pace car. And we're going to see Emmett Lindquist move through to the front of this field with 20 minutes remaining on the clock. 3.5 laps into the stint now for Emmett Lindquist. He is safe to the end, and I would expect that basically everybody is safe all the way to the end, apart from maybe Jed Cotterman. Cotterman is on the 6th lap of his stint at the moment, and drivers have made it about 17 laps max on a fuel tank with this 50% cap. With 19 minutes and 50 seconds remaining, my timing is telling me about 11 laps to go in the race. So anyone that's in that sort of 5 to 6 lap into the stint margin, even as far as almost 7 laps into the stint in the case of Taylor Mann, they might be a little bit marginal on fuel in the final minutes of the race. We'll have to wait and see exactly what goes down here. And well, I saw a change to the Focus car. So Zippy, am I understanding that you're back?
I am here in body and even in spirit, as indeed we're going to get this race underway. I have a feeling it's going to be a grudge match at the end. The last couple of corners of the pace car, and then indeed will be green for what could potentially be the last time here on the iRaceControl end of year enduro on Pit Road Productions.
3 hours of racing at VIR, 2 hours and 41 minutes of which have already been complete. And it looks like, unfortunately, Norris has gotten a black flag for some reason as the field moves away for the green flag. Emmett Lindquist with a big jump over Nathan Nickerson as they find their way to turn 1. Now, Kevin Desnoyers has come out in P10. and he is not too far ahead of this huge fight here. Patrick Hamad, Richard Hibbs trading spots ahead as Morgan Tigge, Dustin Nierhoff, and Ricky Renner are right with Kevin Desnoyers at the moment. The problem is only 18 minutes remaining in the race, and the decision to, well, not really a decision, it was more forced in the case of Desnoyers. Having to pit under that safety car has put him way on the back foot here. He's going to have to gain 10 positions in 18 minutes. I don't even think he can do that as Morgan Tigge spins out of the S's.
That is absolutely catastrophic. They was having such a good race. They saw it get a little bit loose there from the view of Joseph Yang, and it's fair to say that is not the result they were looking for. Definitely unfortunate. Let's see if we can take a quick look at the replay and see exactly what happened.
Sad times for the Rust Belt Racing Mustang, trying to get the position back here from Ricky Renner as Morgan ran wide, and then coming out of the S's here, he was a little bit narrow on the way into these corners. Already a bit of a slide there, and then the curb just exacerbated it. The tire bundles.
Well, definitely unfortunate, but right now at the front of the pack, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Brandon Dooley has managed to find his way up into P3, ladies and gentlemen, and indeed for overall, Nathan Nickerson is not only in P2, but leading the M class ahead of Jed Cartman, who we suspect will have to pit again. But right now, Emmett Lindquist has not been able to pull away from Nickerson. This could be absolutely huge there as he's cutting the grass on the inside. Philip Scott trying to get a little bit more heat in the tires of that Mustang. Taylor Mahon right behind, co-driven there by Matt Gauthier, is looking at a strong finish right now with P5 overall.
Yeah, Taylor's looking pretty quick at the moment. Malik Bass with that fantastic run up through the field. Here comes a potential move for Kevin Denoyer here on Rich Hibbs. He's going to have the inside for NASCAR Bend, the race admin there. You've got to be very careful to give him a little bit of extra room. You don't want to make contact with the guy running the event. As Kevin makes the move and is up into P9 now, looking at P8. He's starting to make his charge, and the lead is so tantalizingly close. He can see it in his field of vision every time he gets out of a corner.
Absolutely. Certainly, Reese, myself, I've never been worried who owns the league. I can get banned on my own merit anyway, as we indeed have a penalty that's been cleared for the number 96 car. That is indeed Landon Norris, ladies and gentlemen. Not been his day. Been caught with connection issues earlier on, and indeed set for the black flag courtesy of iRaceControl. Don't hold me to it as to why, but indeed it looks like Kevin Desnoyers is trying to make a move here on Patrick Hamann, as indeed they're going down Madison Avenue, and the slipstream is going to be very much in effect.
Yeah, the Aston Martin has a lot of power behind it. It's a matchup of a twin-turbo V8 versus a twin-turbo inline six-cylinder for the BMW M4, but the Aston wins out with that Mercedes power unit under the hood. Interesting little factoid there that the Aston Martin Vantage does use a Mercedes engine, but that's going to be moved done. And now all of this battling ahead here of Kevin, he's going to find a lot more fighting here in the final laps of the race. 9 laps to go, my timing is telling me, unless we have another caution in the last 15 minutes.
Well, indeed, things are starting to spice up, but Jed Cotterman now, we suspect the father of the Cotterman iRacing team, is applying pressure to the back here of the Corvette specialist Malik Bass. Oh no, that's gone wrong. Taylor Mahon has gone sideways off the track right by NASCAR Bend, and indeed he needs to get that car moving quickly. A huge wiggle there from the BMW Dustin Nehu, and applies more pressure there to the back of Rich Hibbs, and it looks like right behind him, that is lap traffic, ladies and gentlemen, of David Grimm, and I say that, he's still got traffic right around him as well. Ricky Renner looking to try and make moves and all.
Yes. Oh man, it's hard here at the end of a race when you've just come off a restart and you have cars you're fighting for position with and lapped cars all sharing the same piece of racetrack. This being a sports car endurance race, blue flags advisory only. They don't have to pull over and let them go like they have to in Formula One, but they do have to facilitate the pass safely. Ryan Merriam seeing a chance to move back past Joseph Yang as they come onto the straight, but evidently the Merc is getting enough of a launch out of Oak Tree despite his issues that he can stay ahead.
Yeah, it looks like Jet Cotterman is going to be next on the chopping block for Kevin Desnoyers. He again, he can see that lead. Just a couple of cars ahead is Emmett Lindquist, but the whole time that he gets stuck behind traffic, the greater his chances of getting to the top step of the podium slip away, as indeed, it looks like he's going to try and get an absolutely fantastic run there.
Oh,
and that's
Neerhoof.
defensive there by Cotterman. And yes, Neerhoof, what on earth has gone onto the WM car? I have a feeling it was huge. Let's take a look here at the replay and find out. Whoop! Hold the phone. Do I see 3 wide ahead?
Oh,
dear.
just a little. Oh, things are starting to get a little leery here between Joseph Yang and Ryan Merriam, as now they have Rich Hibbs and Ricky Renner trying to find their way through on David Grimm. Yes, we will have to put that replay on hold because we've got a race on our hands here. Grimm racing the cars around him here. He has a right to hold on to his track position. Oh no, that's Philip Scott that's gone off.
Oh dear, we had a feeling it was going to be spicy at the end of this race, and indeed it's not just spicy, the cayenne peppers have been littered all over the track. These cars are almost touching through the chicanes. Absolutely incredible stuff there, but Ryan Merriam has found his way ahead of Joseph Yang, and it looks like Dustin Neerhoof looking to fight back. He's going to go side by side through the chicanes. I wouldn't advise it, at least not as a driver, but from a broadcast point of view, we just want to see hard racing.
Yeah, and hard racing we're going to see as Neerhoof almost gets into the back of Yang there out of the S's. And they're right behind David Grimm there in that Corvette, who I've just gone back and checked. Grimm is the reason that Dustin Neerhoof went off. Unfortunately, it appears the lapped car racing the lead lap cars a little bit too hard here.
There you can see there a little bit of a bump, and Neerhoof takes the scenic route, goes right across the track, almost gets caught, but I've got to say, fair play to the lad. Fantastic save.
Yeah, great save indeed. And well, he's managed to lose as little time as possible considering the circumstances. He is still right with the battle that he's been in and around for the majority of this race, but he'll certainly be missing out on a potential podium from that. Nathan Nickerson, meanwhile, makes way for Kevin Desnoyers, and the team boxer Brett Aston Martin is back up to 3rd place. Some incredible pace once again from that number 35. Can't wait to see if Kevin can grab the win from here, because don't forget, he has 4.5 seconds to the race lead, 3.5 seconds to the next car. Considering his pace, he might just be able to do it.
Yeah, he's definitely going to have to put his foot down if he wants to do it, as indeed we've got our car that's been black flagged. It is indeed, if I'm not mistaken, the number 12, ladies and gentlemen, and looking through, that's Dustin Neerhoof with the black flag.
Yeah, for incident limit, apparently. Yeah, that's one too many. It set him over the margin, and the system went, no thanks, you can't do that anymore. Into the pits for you. So, a difficult day for Dustin Neerhoof with plenty of highs and lows, and unfortunately there's going to be one more low towards the end as Patrick Hamad is off the track on the exit of Oak Tree.
Yeah, let's take a bit of a replay here. Looks like he had a couple of incidents going in. Let's find out exactly what happened from a driver's point of view.
Too deep into Oak Tree. He tried to crank the steering on, but it was already a bit of understeer and the car was struggling to stay on the track. You try turning the wheel more, you're just going to scrub the fronts more and exacerbate the situation. So unfortunately, Hamad had to take a trip through the grass and the dirt, but he has managed to avoid making contact with the wall. There's Brendan Dooley in 2nd place, but not for long, because there goes Kevin Desnoyers. By the time they get to the line, he will be classed in 2nd place. A 144.876 on that lap for Kevin. And he's running about half a second faster than the race leader at the moment. Considering there's like 6 laps to go or so on the timer, the gap about 4 seconds, yeah, I reckon Kevin Desnoyers is going to be on the back of Emmett Lindquist by about 2 laps to go.
Well, it's going to be an absolute belter of a finish here, and certainly iRaceControl has put on a phenomenal event, but it looks like Jet Coleman has picked up a slowdown. Let's take a quick look here. We're him now, as indeed that's going to be catastrophic, as you've got Tyler... well, yeah, say that. He's got Taylor Mahone about 4 seconds behind, but Nathan Nickerson ahead. He needs to save that showdown and indeed shave it quickly here if he wants to stand the chance of not getting a black flag.
Yeah, for sure. unfortunately for Jed, he will not be able to fight with Nickerson for a couple more seconds. The slowdown is cleared before he gets to Oak Tree. He actually played that one very nicely. Dustin Niehoff's gone off again, and he's actually done the same thing he did earlier in the race. He completely cut out Oak Tree and went off across the inside of the circuit, and nearly ended up cleaning up a couple of cars. That was a very dangerous incident that just happened there.
Yeah, certainly the acrobatics team at WBM is very much in force today, as Malik Bass definitely been the cleanest one of the lot. Don't get me wrong, we love all of those guys over there, but they race hard, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, if you race that hard, dance on the limit that long, it's only so long before you're going to step on a pin, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Malik Bass, the best place driver of the WBM right now, is indeed applying pressure to the back of Ricky Renner for P8 overall. Moving further back, though, yet again, Rich Hibbs and Joseph Yang are back in a battle with Ryan Merriam having a front row seat.
Yeah, this is a fantastic angle. There's the Mercedes trying to get the run out of turn 1 here. And look at the launch that you get. The Mercedes is sometimes very strong on corner exits, but evidently this Porsche is looking a little bit better in the near term. I love how much curb they use as well in this section as well. They are bouncing off of those curbs the whole way around.
I've got to admit, I do commend the track choice here for the iRaceControl end of year enduro. Certainly VIR is 100% a track I would have driven. Actually, I would have loved to get Anton de Castro co-driven it with me, ladies and gentlemen, but don't get me wrong, we're here in the booth. So Tony, if you are indeed watching, he tells me he is. Next time we have one of these on the show, you're going to have to enter it, sir. Get yourself and Tom, if we can keep that princess out of bed for long enough, ladies and gentlemen, to indeed make an appearance. Or indeed, Adrian Worston, be good to see you out here on track as well, our local resident Dutchman, ladies and gentlemen. But indeed, Rich Hibbs now under some good pressure here. Joseph Yang looking to keep squeezing in that AMG, but Ryan Merriam, he started in P2, ladies and gentlemen, has been trying to find his way back for a good couple of hours now, but still applying pressure to the back of the driver, the 551.
Yeah, good three-way fight that's been going on between these guys for a couple of laps now. Yang running a little bit deep there in roller coaster, almost gives the chance to Ryan Merriam, but no dice for the moment. Let's see what the slipstream down the start-finish straight brings. Oh my God, that was Niehoff, was it? Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Dustin's just taking a tour of the meadows at this point.
Well, Diego Zuccarelli probably having a bit of a brown flag moment there as he is retaking control of that car from Richard Price. Niehoff, I think, has accepted he's got a black flag and just having fun at this point. But Rich Hibbs and Joseph Yang are still going at it with Ryan Merriam very much in tow. This is the battle for P10 overall.
That it is. And we also see, oh dear, that's not ideal there. That's the that's the Rust Belt Mustang. Adam Novotny is back in the car, and unfortunately a little bit of an off there in the opening sector, so we'll see him remain in 18th position for the moment. No, actually falling to 19th. They've lost the place to David Grimm in the Vortex Corvette. So for now, keep our eyes peeled on this fight. It's starting to get a bit leery here. Both of these guys who started up the front of the field trying to make their way past Rich Hibbs in the McLaren, who through strategy has been making himself a presence in this top 10.
Yeah, this has definitely been a hell of a grudge match so far, ladies and gentlemen. Indeed, Ryan Merriam is indeed motivated in that 802 machine. He can see Yang ahead of him, he can see Hibbs ahead of him, but can he see his way to the top 10?
That is the question. 4.5 minutes on the clock, and it'll be 3 laps to go across the line for this group. Kevin Desnoyers, meanwhile, has absolutely erased the gap to the lead. He's now 2/10 behind Emmett Lindquist and couldn't be too far away from a move. So we could be seeing the race-winning pass happen in just a few moments' time. Question is, where does he get it done? It's often difficult to make a move in this half of the circuit. It's all about rhythm. It's all about maximizing your pace through the corners, and it's one line fits all through a lot of them. You could make the pass at Oak Tree, but do you want to then have to defend down the back straight of Madison Avenue? I think Kevin's going to bide his time here and try and go for it at Roller Coaster.
I do have to wonder as well, is he going to hold on until the last lap? You can see Emmett Lindquist is working really hard there. Taylor Mahone having a little bit of a connection issue, but don't get me wrong, we're going to stay with this lead battle right now. Can Desnoyers do it? He started at the back of the grid, ladies and gentlemen. He's currently up 23 positions. Emmett Lindquist actually up 25. He's without a doubt the hard charger in the field, but should these roles reverse, they'll both be matching 24 positions gained. But I have a feeling here, Desnoyers is going to keep applying the pressure here. Is he going for the move? No, he's holding off. He is playing chicken. Ladies and gentlemen, he likes to play with his food before he eats it.
Yeah, well, Emmett Lindquist was also weaving down the straight there. I'm not sure if that is within the spirit of the regulations of this event, but I'll leave that for another time, see if Rich Hibbs can weigh in on that. But Emmett Lindquist now leading across the line with 2 laps on the cards here. Under 3 minutes remain. A lap around here about 1 minute and 45 seconds. They will cross the line to start the final lap with 1 minute left on the timer. And yeah, Kevin is just biding his time here at the moment. He's sitting pretty behind that Mustang. Or is he? Goes for it at NASCAR Bend. Oh, come on. Let's see what you can do here, Kevin. Emmett Lindquist forced wide and gives him the place. And that is the move done for the lead for Kevin Denoyer in the number 35. Now, he just needs to hold on.
Yeah, well, don't get me wrong, his pace has been absolutely incredible. But 144.32, he's been ion unstoppable on outright pace. But don't get me wrong, Lindquist has got a drop. He's definitely no slouch. Despite the fact there's a 4,000 iRating gap, ladies and gentlemen, I do find once you get into the higher tiers of iRating, it certainly becomes to be less and less of a difference. Now, you do have to wonder, can that 23 Mustang apply the pressure? Can it keep in the tow and indeed find force a late move here as we get in the closing stages of the race? And now Denoyer is having to be on the defensive and indeed returning the favor there from Lindquist.
Well, the Boxer Brett Racing Aston Martin is going to have to keep an eye out in the rear view camera because Emmett Lindquist is having little looks. He's trying to psych out Kevin. This is the kind of racing that I love seeing, those psychological games being played. A little jerk out from the racing line before a braking zone. You make the driver in front of you think, oh, is he going to go for the move? A little bit of distraction might just be the ticket for you to actually move through on them. But we'll see what happens as the leaders take the white flag up ahead. We keep our eyes peeled here on Malik Bass in the WBM Corvette as he's trying desperately. Oh, hello. That's the end of a fuel stint there for Taylor Mahone. He thought he could make it an extra lap, but evidently the race going a lap longer than he anticipated, and he's going to lose a ton of places there, having to splash and dash on the final lap. Meanwhile, the Vortex Sim Team Corvette with its own issues coming out of Hogpen.
Yeah, that's definitely not the line he was looking for, and indeed it gave Adam Novany a chance to make a pass here. Let's see exactly what happened in the closing stage. It just goes a little bit wide there through Hogpen, catches a little bit of grass. I've got to say, well held there. One of the few Corvettes in the field, but I've got to say, looking mightily good doing it nonetheless.
Yeah, indeed. And a very strong driver pairing, as we mentioned before in that car. Well, solo entry is the number 35. Kevin Denoyer has been the class of the field on pace pretty much the whole way through. Did not set a qualifying time. In fact, neither of our top two set a time in qualifying. They decided to do the last to first challenge. Well, for the Boxer Brett Aston Martin, it's going to be a second last to first challenge, or actually a fourth last to first challenge. What an incredible drive from Kevin. And this is an incredible piece of driving. To the line, he will come from 25th on the grid. The number 35 takes the win in the iRaceControl end-of-year endurance race here at Virginia International Raceway. 3 hours done, and he saw just about every position in this field on the way.
He did indeed, and I've got to say, what an absolutely astonishing drive. Both himself and Emmett Lindquist, both of them making up 24 positions. Brandon Dooley able to sneak there in third for Dark Speed Endurance, ladies and gentlemen. Good job there. The only Acura in the field. But let's not forget this guy here, Nathan Nickerson. He's up 20 positions. He did get penalized by the stewards earlier on, and despite that, manages to win the AM class, ladies and gentlemen, and in P4 overall. No doubt a fantastic drive. Patrick Hamad there able to get fifth, and indeed Jed Cotterman, I'd say the father of the Cotterman racing team. He's 6th and up 10 positions overall. Fantastic stuff by him.
Yeah, fantastic from Jed Cotterman. Malik Bass, 19 positions gained in 8th place, which is a fantastic drive as well. Unfortunately, it would have been nice to see what the likes of Dustin Nierhoff and the Rust Belt Racing Mustang would have been able to do were it not for the issues that they faced. Don't forget, we lost a few cars that we thought would be fantastic here. Morgan Smith and Austin Diltz out relatively early compared to everyone else here, but that's going to be the end of things. We're still waiting on the last few cars here to actually cross the line. It looks like with Landon Norris making his way to the checkered flag, that is everyone across the line, and it means we can potentially go through our results here before we have a chat to some of our drivers and, of course, our administration team. So, from 25th on the grid to 1st by the end, it's Kevin Desnoyers who makes his way to the win here. The Boxer Movement Club car of Emmett Lindquist finishes 2nd, and the Dark Speed Endurance Orange Acura of Brandon Dooley will complete our podium. The SimRacers.com green car, Nathan and Courtney Nickerson at the wheel of that one. First two-driver team to win the AM class and finish P4 overall. And we will see the Corncob TV racing car of Patrick Hamad find his way to P5. And we'll see 6th place go to the Cotterman Racing Team machine of Jed. SimRacers.com, 7th place is going to finish there with Ricky Renner at the wheel. WBN Blues Malik Bass finishes P8 with Int Racers Joseph Yang. He was in contention for a podium, but 3rd in the end for him. 3 positions gained for Rich Hibbs, race admin, who rounds out the top 10.
As we have a look there, P11 was Ryan Merriam. He was represented by Aeronaut Racing, with P12 being P3 in the amateur class, going to Christian Gone, who was driving indeed that oh my gosh, Springham Home Syndicate, ladies and gentlemen, in that beautiful 139 car. I gotta apologize, I can't read my own writing, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to zoom this sucker in. But indeed, having a look a little bit further down, P14 was driven by Bradley Tidwell, or indeed the Nice Pair Racing. I'm glad I can say that, ladies and gentlemen. Incomplete innocent. He means shoes, ladies and gentlemen. And then P15 was indeed Road Sport Performance. That was Taylor Mahan, which was a co-driven car there in that mighty Mustang.
Yeah, indeed it was. Rounding out your top 20, the Road Sport Performance, Cotterman iRacing Team, SimRacers.com Red and Rust Belt Racing cars, and 18th Vortex Sim Team and Floppy Bird Racing rounding out your top 20. The Dark Speed Endurance Gold car, the first car 2 laps down, Todd Schwartz at the wheel of that one. Landon Norris in the Norris Concrete Enduro Mustang, also finishing 2 laps down with a late penalty. Ninja Philip Scott finishes 8 laps down in 23rd, and the last car, I believe, to complete the race there, along with Norris. Unfortunately, we lost Morgan Smith, Logan Watton, Gray Welch, Austin Diltz, and Dustin Nierhoff. And that is the end of the field there. 28 cars racing. And what an incredible race it was. I'm very happy with how that turned out.
Oh, absolutely. But indeed, what an absolute belt. And indeed, the first time we ever put a 3-hour endurance race here on Pit Road Productions. But we are going to get through a couple of interviews here. Reese, I understand you managed to catch up with the absolute alien of a driver, the number 35 of Kevin Desnoyers.
Yes, Kevin, welcome. And, you didn't set a time in qualifying. Was that intentional, first off?
Maybe. It might have been intentional. I wanted to see what would happen. Also, I thought it might be a little bit safe. Kind of just being careful on the start. You never know with
Yeah.
VIR. There's a lot of crazy things that can happen here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess with the iRaceControl software running the officiating in this session, you had safety cars to think about, you had automated penalties as well, so that must have been playing on your mind a little bit, at least the potential for full course yellows.
Oh yeah, not only that, but also I was like one more 4x away from getting a drive-through. I think maybe only one of them was maybe in my control slightly, but you know, things happen in iRacing. I was really close to that, I guess. Had to be careful fighting people, and yeah, I almost screwed myself over on the last full course, actually. I was thinking of pitting before it happened, just in case, and then I didn't, and then of course a yellow came out.
Yeah, sometimes it works out that way, unfortunately, but you had the pace to really just drive your way back to the lead, and I guess you obviously take away from this a lot of positive things. Congratulations for the victory, Kevin, and we really appreciate you coming along for a chat. Great drive.
Yeah, for sure. It was very fun. Thank you for having me here.
Well, Kevin Desnoyers there winning the race here. We are going to be joined by our AM winners. I believe Courtney is up there as well. Nathan Nickerson joining us here from car number 470. We'll start with you, Nathan. Obviously, very happy to make your way to the AM class victory there. It was a tough job making your way up from 24th on the grid.
Yeah, super stoked on that. The start of the race, qualifying near the pack, we knew we'd be a little slower out front, and just see what we could do during the race. Did not expect a top 5 at all, even a top 10, but in the end, we had the pit stop strategy nailed down and got lucky by that last yellow flag, so it really sealed the deal for us.
And Courtney, to bring you into this, you were at the wheel of the car for the start of the race, and it wasn't too long before we got our first full course yellow, and you had to deal with a few of them on your way to handing the car over to Nathan.
Yes. This was my first endurance race, and I went off the track a couple times at the beginning, but I think I did pretty good. I think the cautions helped me not get lapped so that Nate could get back to the front.
Yeah, indeed. It was a tough one for sure. But for your first endurance race, to get a P4 overall and winning your class is certainly nothing to sneeze at. So a big thanks to the both of you for showing up and coming in here to the booth. Congratulations. Hopefully this isn't the last we see of you here on Pit Road Productions.
Yeah, we'll see you again next time. Super fun.
Yep.
Nathan and Courtney Nickerson there making their way to the AM class victory in their Porsche. Zippy, who have we got up next?
Oh, I was just about going to wrap it up, but I tell you what, we probably should steal this gentleman before we do. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your race organizer and indeed one of the creators here for iRaceControl. Now, don't get me wrong, he drove pretty good as well, but he's not here on that capacity, ladies and gentlemen. Rich Hibbs, I got to say, we did see an absolutely fantastic piece of software in action today. Don't get me wrong, we still got to learn a little bit about it, but we're going to get to see that in the Podium 1 series that's going to be coming into early next year. We're going to see TCRs, GT4s, and indeed a GT3 race as well, ladies and gentlemen. Fantastic stuff. But Rich, tell us a little bit about iRaceControl and indeed what people can do if they want to get subscribed to this service.
So iRaceControl is meant for all leagues to download, and you can use it for free for basic functionality to see if you would like it or not. If you pay the $5 a month or $50 a year subscription, you get all the features of iRaceControl. You can have it so you can review all incidents as they happen, when they happen. It'll take you to the replay of the incident. You can also do that post-race if you want to race in it, like I did tonight. I raced in my race. I let the software do what it does. And after the race, if I want to review anything, I can go through it at my leisure. I can even load it up the next day and still go through the incidents like they were right in the live session. So it's a great piece of software for all leagues. If you are interested, join the IRC Discord or reach out through the YouTube or anything like that, and I'll get in touch with you. It's a great piece of software for all leagues. I even use it in endurance racing for the official, like Sebring 24, Daytona 24, and things like that. You don't get to see everyone's incident points, but you get to track all their pit stops and their pit stop times and their fast laps and everything to do with each car on the track. So you can really dial in your setups, your strategies for those races, and it helps a lot. So if you're interested, reach out. The website is iRaceControl.com if you would like to download it, and the Discord is iRaceControl. So, thanks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, some fine words there from Rich Hibbs, and I've got to say a huge thank you goes to him and indeed everybody who took part in this event. We started with indeed 28 drivers, and indeed we may not have finished for just as many, but Rich, we've been saying it all stream. We are going to have you back for another one of these endurance events, maybe even a monthly thing. We'll see if we can work something out. But Reese, I think it's that magical time. We need to bring this show to a close.
Indeed, and it's good to hear Rich confirming my earlier assessment at the start of the show that you could use the iRaceControl app as a timing and scoring app, not just to do race control. So it's multi-purpose as well, which is just fantastic. Well, thank you very much to everybody who tuned in here on Pit Road Productions, and hopefully we've turned your attention towards the iRaceControl program as a result of this broadcast. A big thanks to Rich Hibbs and also Christopher at iRaceControl for putting this event on and demonstrating this app to the world. To all the drivers as well for taking part. It's been fantastic to see the brilliant racing that we've seen over the past 3 hours. Bringing it to you live here on Pit Road Productions, it was myself, Reese Gardner, with Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box and also producing behind the scenes. Stay tuned later on in the week because we are going to have more shows coming here on PRP. The fun never stops here. Check our YouTube page and the scheduled live streams to see what we got coming up next. Hit the subscribe button and the like button while you're at it. We'll see you guys next time.